And maybe it's working. No error message so far.
All right, hey,
And
that's a good start.
we're gonna call that a victory.
All right, are we stramming right now, or just
In
let me know when we're
theory,
stramming?
I'm waiting for my own thing to catch up. Oh, it's loading video, so
Oh boy,
I'm gonna say yes.
this is the one.
I'm gonna
I
say
can
yes.
feel
There
it.
we go. All right, this is the one.
We did it.
So I can make you. I'll make you big.
What? Oh yeah, yeah. If you want to make my screen big, that'd be great.
Yeah, because I'm actually gonna be. Yeah, I'm gonna be. I want to update the bot real quick. I should just need my new password, and that should be all I need. So we're gonna give that a try.
Gotcha. Cool. Sounds good. Yep, I can see this. All right, you want me to take this here?
Go for it.
All right.
Oh, the silhouettes of people.
Yep. From the level Lost Souls. Wow. I wasn't pretentious at all back then. Look at that. We totally didn't just Google image hijack that. That was really, really something special. I still have that level. I was actually planning on using it even when we had the new version of the game for the Devil Rooms, and then I'm like, no, this sucks. Anyway, it's kind of clever still, but anyway. So, yeah, I'm gonna do a run through of the old levels of this game when it was still a music,
The ancient.
yeah, a music platformer. It's pretty neat. I'm just looking for a bit of inspiration right now because there's a few levels I'm thinking about using in the new version of the game, but I'm gonna try to jog my memory to see if any of this shit still holds up. Spoilers, it probably doesn't. Yeah, no, this is bad. This is real bad.
Those beams.
Look at
Those
those beams.
beams.
Ah, shit.
Holy shit! How did we ever think that looked good?
I don't
Yeah,
even
I'm just gonna
know.
do this for now. Focus on the other stuff.
Oh my god, this is impossible. Who the fuck designed this? This is shit. What? Oh, I would have made it that time too. This is bullshit. Fuck this shit. I fucking hate this game.
Did the hover animation just not function at all that time?
I got. Oh, this level was cool. This is chaotic neutral. This is a cool level. Yeah.
Oh, neutral energy. Hey,
Neutral energy.
I
Yeah.
forgot
Okay.
that we actually at some point had that in the game.
Yeah, these textures look great too. I think we could probably just stick with these. These. What is it?
You need to show this to AJ and Chris.
Oh yeah, I think Hey guys, like I think this is what I crafted.
Got a new direction, and
Direction,
just
okay.
screenshot that and post it as if you made like concept art out of it. You're just like, hey man, I just drew this thing.
Fuck
What you
level
guys
is this?
think?
Oh shit! Right. Oh, this was a cool level. Remember this shit? Oh, this was
This
onions.
is onions, right? Yeah.
Yeah. And then if you go up here, you get trapped. Wait, no, you don't get trapped. What is this? I don't remember this at all. All right, and then you got to do this bullshit.
It just keeps coming until it just gets fucking ridiculous. Cause
Yeah. Oh yeah.
now you can.
All right.
I thought it was more than that. That was weird.
I think it was.
This
I
snake?
think that something would have happened. Yeah, this is Snake. I'm gonna see if this level still holds up. Probably doesn't. I was gonna use auto energy for this. Oh god, where'd the sound go on this? This is really bad. I want to hit I to turn on the invisibility cheat, but we don't have it. Oh shit! Right. Yeah, this is why I wanted to use it.
There's never been an invisibility cheat.
Invincibility cheat. Maybe I'll redo this a little. There's some interesting ideas here. Oh fuck! Right.
Yeah. So would you make those automatic energy?
Oh, you can still moonwalk. Look.
Oh, the good old
Well,
days.
Look at his hat. Or look at his hair. Look at his toupee.
Fuck?
That's
Why
so
is
weird.
it doing that?
Didn't we used to have that bug where, like, look at that, it like hair, eyebrow, hair, eyebrow, hair, eyebrow.
I don't remember that, but I guess
Yeah. Didn't we used to have that thing where it was like,
it goes in front of him. Wait, it's not animating.
no, remember when the character used to slowly fall to pieces?
Oh yeah.
Remember this level dropping in?
Yeah.
Oh fuck. Yeah, okay. God, this was
Do
shit.
you remember that level?
No, apparently not. Yeah. Bullet hell. I remember something about this. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, okay, I'm gonna... But there's this.
Alright.
Watch this.
Test this game real quick.
Oh, yeah.
Whoa.
This was
oh,
bullshit
man, I
is
forgot
what
about
this
that.
was.
Are those
Yeah, it's
just
kinda
bullets
cool.
or are they supposed to be asteroids?
I think these are bullets. Oh, fuck. Why did I do that? I'm a fucking idiot. Yeah, okay. And this was the critical bit. Oh, God, that's right. Nobody could beat this level. Except me. Shit. Yeah, this was bullshit, dude. Who the fuck made this game? God, this is so frustrating. Some interesting music platformer stuff going on here, though. Looks like he's dancing. Shit.
Labyrinth. Oh,
Yeah.
man. Alright.
There was some cool stuff in this game. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, but
Damn it.
that's right. I forgot. I did the music to this.
Login
Right.
unsuccessful. Weird.
Oh shit! Right. Fuck. Yeah, that level's totally coming. This level's totally coming back today.
Epic
Free me.
error lives.
Nice. Oh,
What's
what the?
going on?
Okay, it's not a wall. Oh my god, I thought it was a wall.
Epic
This
error,
level-
you're seeing history right now.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Right. Oh. What the hell?
What
What
are
is
you doing?
going
What are you
on?
doing?
I don't. What the fuck just happened?
Ah, it's glorious. He's pretty bad.
What the hell?
There
Is there like
must
a
be
trigger here?
some-
There's got to be
There's
something here.
There's something.
Oh,
fucked up
that's
there.
balls. This is actually the level I wanted to test too. I mean, aside from this first part. Okay, what the fuck is going on here?
Ah, damn
can't-
it! Fucking Unity's
Oh
breaking.
shit! What? Unity's freaking?
Unity's breaking on me. This fucking bot is so weird because when Unity 5 first came out, we fucking updated everything. Everything's fucking brilliant. It's great, and suddenly the bot has gone to shit.
I just want to see. That sucks. I just want to see what the fuck is stopping me from progressing here. This is like the one level I wanted to test here. Let's do this. This is our big chasing level. Was our big chasing level. Shit. No, fucking. Fuck this game. Whoever made this fucking game is a dick. Oh, there we go. Yeah, okay. So, chase time. Oh, God. Alright, those timings are pretty tight. Oh, my God. This is some bullshit. Ugh. Run! Run! Run!
Whoa.
You know, maybe I'll just make a new chase level. It's kind of neat, but
I think we should replace all our asteroids with those little circles you got.
it's little circles.
Yeah, they're much more menacing.
I think there's a secret back here. Yeah, check this shit out. Oh, that shit's cool.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, the
myself.
countdown.
Yeah. Remember that? Because there's a beat going on here.
Yeah. It's somewhere.
Yeah. This level took me like 5 straight days to make. It's when I was first starting. I'm like, I'm going to make a really ambitious chase level. And I was a fucking idiot. I was young. I was stupid. It was a year ago. No. All right. Anyway, I'm done. Well, that was certainly interesting. History revisited. We're gonna have a much better game. Much better game now. All right. Well, I'm gonna open the version of this game that's not completely terrible.
Alright. I don't know what the hell's going on here.
I'm still gonna make some dick levels tonight, man. Like, I gotta take out all my frustration just on the poor player. That's what I'm doing tonight.
Wow.
Yeah, super lagged. Oh, man.
Alex went to GDC. I did not.
Yeah, I went to GDC. It was the best. It was really good. Showed people our GDC build. Went over pretty well. I mean, we just had a lot of kind of temp art in the game, but I mean, you know, nice looking temp art, and it went over pretty well. A lot of people really enjoyed it, the gameplay of it, I should say. So yeah, it was good. Got a lot of good feedback. I know this is gonna sound weird, not as much bad feedback as I was hoping for, because I want to know what we're fucking up too, you know. But yeah, it actually went really well. I was really expecting my mom to have some just nasty feedback for me, just be like, "Son, this is terrible. What are you doing with your life? I told you I wanted you to be a doctor. You're out of the family." Like, that's the kind of feedback I was hoping for, but we didn't really get a whole lot of that, unfortunately. So everyone liked the game, which really sucked. So what a terrible thing that was. It's freezing in my room right now. That's why I'm sounding like I'm dying here, because I literally am. It's April and we got snow today. Freaking St. John's, man.
Oh, you're so lucky.
No, how do you like snow, man? It's so weird. You lived in Boston for how long?
Yeah.
So weird. I don't know how you do it.
Still good.
Oh, whatever, man. I would say it's snow good. That's what I would say. Get it? Huh? This guy gets it. You get it. You got it. It's bad. That was bad. Alright, I'm going to speed run this level that I'm making right now. I'm about to make Freebie. This is the old, really sadistic level that looks really nice, and then you die, like, immediately, because it's horrible. Should I make this? 294. Yeah. Our units of measurement in this game, one tile is, like, when I do the level design, I'm doing this in tiles, so to speak. So one tile for us is 42 on X, 36 on Y. So if I can do head math correctly, to make a tile worth of 7, I believe that's 294 on X, I mean, and I'm keeping it 36 on Y. But because I don't trust my own math, I'm going to just do that one time. Yay, I'm amazing at math. That is 294. So, now I'm going to ruin the player's day with what I'm about to do here. So, the thing about this level is that it's supposed to look deceptively easy, which is why I call this level. What?
I got the bot working again.
Oh, good. I'm glad to hear it. Actually, I'm going to make this bigger. So this level is supposed to be deceptively easy looking, but it has a really nasty secret to it. It kills you. Spoilers.
It's good. Good spoiler.
It's a good spoiler. Yeah.
There you go.
One sec. I'm going to turn on the heat because I'm literally dying. Literally. Not even figuratively. Literally. One sec.
Alright, so I have the bot working again. I had to update my authorization token, but now it doesn't seem to be adding things
All
to
right.
the chat, which is a little sad.
It's not good.
It's a little sad.
It's a little sad.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Canvas, Twitch chat.
All right. I'm back. The heat is on. Yeah. The heat is on.
Wow.
Yeah. That's made another pun. That's what I did. Did that right now.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make this little space for our gremlin character. Actually, I'm going to reduce this by 1. I'm just going to bring this to a solid 210. 1 sec. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to make a little bit of space for our gremlin character. Our gremlin, has the gremlin been shown on chat yet? Or, excuse me, on stream yet?
Yeah, I think so.
A while back, right? This is our douchey gremlin character. He's a little spider mouse. I guess he's a little cute, even though he's got spider legs and scorpion tail and no texturing. But so I guess he's a little bit cute, but he's not. He's a big jerk, and every single time you see him in a level, this means you're going to die unfairly. That's right, unfairly. And the reason why it's fair, or at least fairer, is because the Spider Mouse fella is here to give the player a hint that there is an unfair death in this level, and from there, the player is going to have to react. We've actually seen one of our artists, Chris Canavo, is fucking amazing at the game somehow, and we like to play test this against him and to see how he fares, and he was able to get through a fair majority of these quote end quote unfair levels without dying, so we know it's possible. But yeah, the player language here in a nutshell is if you see the gremlin, it's going to fuck you up in a really, really cheap way. It's meant to entertain, not infuriate, but we are taking some I want to be the guy kind of reference to heart here. I'm actually a big fan of those games. I want to be the guy, Cat Mario. I mean, mind you, when I say a big fan, I hate playing them, but I really like watching them. So, they're a spectator sport. They're the Jerry Springer of the video game world. You don't want to be on the show, but you love watching it. That was a weird analogy. That was pretty weird. But yeah, so this gremlin guy, he is going to appear in the level, and when you see him, in this case, he's going to be here. I'm actually going to give the player another hint that there's something really dirty in this level by actually setting the camera at a strange position at the beginning of it, because usually the camera is centered. Usually the camera is centered. One sec, head math. 36 times 4, 144. Usually the camera is centered when you begin the level to make sure that the entire room is in the center of the frame. But in this level, the camera is actually going to be slightly. The level is going to appear in the upper part of the frame. It's not going to be centered. And why is this? It's because we're hiding something really nasty on the lower part of the level that the player is going to discover in a terrible, terrible way. So I'll get to that in a minute. I'm going to set up the framing of this level a bit more. So I guess I'll just tell you what I'm going to do here in advance. You might have already seen it if you were watching since we were showing off the older version of the game. But what's going to happen is the player's going to enter this room, and it's going to look like it's just a really simple little level. It's just they go from Portal A to Portal B. Nothing in the way, right? But under Portal B, there's a trapped door. It's actually a hidden room. Player steps here, and they fall face first into unstable energy and die. It's quite awful, and it's going to be hysterical. The other goal of this, I should also mention, is that we want the players to laugh at this and not hate our guts. So hopefully we'll still succeed on that front. There's definitely going to be a few levels that are going to call that philosophy into play, but yeah, that's the high level goal here. So I'm going to set up the frame of this level so you can see what I'm doing is I'm just aligning everything properly. I've got portal A right here, portal B right here, and I've got my unstable energy, which is going to be very unfair. And I've got my spider mouse up here. I feel like I'm doing like the joy of painting right now, with Bob Ross, but with like sadistic level design.
Happy spider mouse.
This is it's happy spider mouse over here. You can see this mountain that I'm putting up behind him. I'm not even sure where to go with this. I'm really bad at impersonations. But yeah, let's see. So the next thing I'm going to do is, hello, Habs1. Welcome.
What's up, Habs? Habs1.
Habs1. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to designate these waypoints for the spider mouse. And what these waypoints are is actually, it's the spider mouse's trail of movement. So spider mouse is the other word we use for gremlin, because, I mean, literally that's what he is. He's a spider mouse. Actually, he's more of a scorpion mouse, really. We should have probably... I don't know, I guess spider mouse rolls off the tongue a little bit more.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to judge. I don't got anything against spider mouse.
I think we named him that before he had that tail, because AJ changed that.
Oh, okay. Well, I thought in the original the original version we had the tail as well. Maybe I could be mistaken.
Not sure. It certainly it was not a scorpion tail if there was a tail at all.
Right. Okay, no, that's fair. I just said that's fair again, didn't I? I can't stop saying that word, man. It's a habit. But anyway, so yeah,
Gotcha.
What this spider mouse... I get it, yeah. I got it. Inside jokes. We've got the inside jokes. Damn it. Anyway, so what's going to happen here is... What?
For sure.
You just said for sure, didn't you?
For sure.
But you said it in like a weird way.
For sure.
Yeah. So yeah, they've got this thing right here.
I don't know what patrol means.
I don't know what that means. Maybe it means they're the police.
I don't know what it means. I'm familiar with the word patrol, not in this.
I mean, the word patrol. I could look that up on Urban Dictionary, but I'm kind of in the middle of some stuff right now. I'm sure it's something terrible.
How are we working on the same project? We have fancy source control. That's how.
Source control.
Back in the day, the project was on Dropbox, and basically Alex would be the only one directly working in the project that was on Dropbox. And what I would do is I would copy that entire project to somewhere on my local drive and then just toss in script files. That's how we updated the code. Today, we have actual tools that facilitate development, and so we are able to basically simultaneously work on the same project. And what source control does is it basically locks files as being read-only until you go to actually check them out, and then that kind of like shows up on everyone else's machine that like these files are being edited, and then you can just sync and get updates whenever you want, basically. So you have your own local project, but we're all contributing to the same project on a server. It's pretty handy.
Super handy. I don't know how we went for so long without it. We used to just use Dropbox, which was, what do we call it, the House of Cards? Not to be confused with a certain Netflix show, but
I don't know, try to run the bot.
Yeah, we had one guy come in briefly. He was assisting us with some design support, and he clicked the wrong thing and deleted the entire project, which was pretty... We actually laughed about it because we knew we had it backed up in like 50 places, but we still gave him a lot of shit. We said, "You did what?" Like, oh fuck! Like we really made it sound like we were panicking, and we drove the poor guy crazy. Like he was really upset about it, and then we laughed. So anyway, it was
Oh god damn it.
we're not very good people. What is everything all right?
Well, it's not awesome. So I don't even know how this happened, but so the bot mostly works. The one thing that's a little bit wonky is this animation that I put onto the chat window. So I have it collapsing, and then it will expand whenever anyone says something. So it kind of puts it out of the way for most of the time. But the problem is, it doesn't seem to want to collapse all the way, which is rather frustrating. Let's find this animator. I don't know why it's being a shit.
That sucks. So yeah. Yeah, I'm about to throw in the hidden room here, if you guys want to see exactly what I'm going to do.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I'd love to see exactly what you're going to do.
Oh, yeah. That's down a little bit too far, actually. No, that's fine, I guess. Alright, 1 sec. Got to increase that a bit on the y-axis to make it fit the entire space. Alright, so we're going to just try this, see if it works. It's just a pretty simple level. I haven't added the spider mouse functionality in left yet, but one more thing I need to do is, so we have this thing called debug camera start, which is a script that Joe made, which whenever it is pretty simple. It simply just means that if I start at a specific starting location in the level, it forces the camera to start at a specific point. Pretty basic stuff, but check it out. Here we go. So I start the level. Here I am. Spider Mouse is not coming because I haven't finished that. Go forward, and I'm dead. Yep. All right. So, yeah. So it's a pretty evil little thing. We're going to give some hints to the player at what exists. How we're going to do that, we're going to do that, or we're going to give some hints to the player about this trap, and how we're going to do that is the first clue is going to be the spider mouse, who I'm going to make come in here next. The second clue, which I'd like to do, is I want there to be, the second clue is going to be this camera. You can see that the level isn't really in the center of the frame. It's kind of just, it's aligned upwards, and there's no real sensical reason why that would be when the player first begins. And the third thing I want to do, ultimately once we start getting to the polish phase, is because unstable energy glows when you're near it, and I'd actually like to have a red glow emitting from this little gap right here, so the player can know there's something screwy going on here. So in order to survive this level, the actual way to survive, once you're aware of the trap, jumping over. That's how you're going to survive. What the fuck? That spider mouse just ran backwards all Exorcist style over there. I'm not sure if you saw that. That was really weird.
Don't you have the newest code?
I should. I just updated really recently. Oh, fuck. That's right. The physics still aren't working here.
What are you talking about? The physics are flawless.
No, because you got to do this thing where you jump up and you hover here and it's supposed to carry you, but instead it face plants you into the thing.
The physics are perfect. I don't know what you're talking about.
They're not perfect.
I'm pretty sure they're perfect.
I don't know. They're getting there, but not quite yet. All right. Well, he's flipping at what?
See ya, Habs.
See ya, Habs.
I'm gonna rerun this old bot. Okay, go away.
All right. I'm gonna finish this level now.
All right. Do we have? Let's build this again, and with any luck, this will be the last time I build this ever.
Nice. So we're going to make the spider mouse come in here. This should work first time.
Yeah.
Famous
no,
last
why
words.
wouldn't it?
Yeah, of
Why
course.
would anything ever just not work?
Okay, so we got him in there. I'm gonna put a slight delay on. Okay, yeah. So what's going on right now is as soon as you come into the level, he moves over to his perch. Now what I'm about to do is, so what do you see right here, this thin invisible strip of nothing? This is a trigger zone. And when I touch this trigger zone, I'm going to put a delay of 0.5 seconds, and then I'm going to have the spider mouse move out of it. So, I'll do that right now.
Oh, we got a follower? Crodman Dune. Thanks for following. This may be making up for lost time. I'm not sure at this point, but thanks
that
for
name
the
sounds
follow,
familiar.
no matter when you followed.
Oh yes, thank you. But actually, that name sounds really familiar. Wasn't that? Didn't we get that last time? The same person?
Probably. I have to. This is basically going through since the last time I was able to actually run the bot and it didn't break everything. So,
gotcha.
Let's see where we are.
All right, let's see how this looks now. So go here.
Andre Yes TV. How many are we? Are we going back through a lot here? I don't know.
This looks like we're about to go through some. Yeah. All right. Cool. This level is working. So that's really all there is to that last level. Really simple level.
I guess it's Cosmo Beats. I don't remember calling these people out though. Did I? Because I don't
know.
I feel like I didn't. So I want to make sure everybody gets a head explosion. That's what's really important.
That's what's really important.
Camera broke. And as well as a jetpack flipping the fuck out because physics.
What?
The jetpack is like the least stable physics object for reasons I don't quite know yet.
Oh yeah. There's things about the jetpack. Well, that's because there's all that.
I remember. Okay, Games plus James. That
sounds familiar.
It's definitely familiar. But whatever. It's possible that due to bugs, people are getting double head explosions, but that's fine too.
All right.
Litholight.
Wait, what?
That's one's name, Litholight.
Litholight?
Yeah.
It's a strange name for a mother and a father to name their child.
I don't judge, just so everyone knows.
I'm not
judging.
No, I'm not judging. I'm just saying.
I'm not as judgmental and horrible.
When I say strange, I simply mean it's unusual but not wrong.
Sure.
It's just
of course.
No, I mean I don't discriminate myself. I mean
Suds Dev. Yeah, we're definitely going through some previous ones, but
alright. Gonna give this a shot.
Okay, so I guess I'll start doing real things now.
Go for it. If you want to take the stream, go for it.
Exploit 44. That one I don't remember.
These people gotta be from another time. I don't recognize the names either, but from another time, like another life.
Your followers somewhere in another world. Gridstock. Thanks for following. You get a shaky jetpack and a head explosion.
I'm quite positive that all these people are not just now following us. I mean,
no, I know.
Okay.
This is like everyone since the last time that this bot was running properly, which could very well be a couple of weeks. Video games in the Bible. I feel like we're going through that. That feels extra far back to me. Just open this up. Yeah, I think, okay, so it looks like we're at 247, and I think we're at, like, total 256. So we got a few more. Bionic Rock.
Oh, is this for, like, if they go back to watch the streams and stuff?
Yeah.
They'll be like, hey, that's me.
Well, and also for anyone watching who has not followed yet, they're like, hey, I want I want to get my name up there and have Mike's head explode.
Oh, yeah.
Aldershot 8008. Thank you for
Right.
following.
Aldershot, I think. Yeah, he's a YouTuber. He's cool. I like him.
Is he?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
What?
Yeah, Aldershot. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he did a video on Dark Scavenger. I'm pretty sure. He's a cool guy. Yeah.
Somebody
Look
played
it up.
that game? The Gypsy Knight.
Wow.
Thank you for following.
Wow.
It's fine if I worked on it to say that.
You worked on it too. Yeah.
OPS, I may have been seriously considering a Unity port of that game.
Oh my god. No. No.
Yeah.
Oh, P.S. I'm seriously considering hiring a bunch of 3D artists to animate the entire game.
Here's
One
the
of
thing.
us
Here's the thing.
is spouting
Here's the thing.
bullshit. What?
So, Gammer Kitten. Yeah, I remember that. I feel like that was on this one, but whatever. So here's the thing. Like I've been really down on a lot of mobile games lately. And,
Me too. Since mobile became a platform, yeah, me too.
Well, yeah.
Sorry, I did disclose.
Royal.
To disclose, I work on mobile games professionally, so I'm okay for me to make fun of it. It's fine. Sorry, go on.
Just like I can say nobody played Dark Scavenger.
That's just too much, though. That's too
clearly not
much.
true.
Man.
No, I know. In any case, Crazy Gamer. But yeah, so here's the thing: is that like, you know, it's since because yesterday I was able to get our new game running on mobile, and I can even show that real quick. I believe Jewish Swag 123. Yeah, we're getting near the end of, I believe.
Yeah, I recall Jewish Swag.
Yeah. So yeah, I've been I got Mike Dies working. I got really quick. Yeah, here I'll show you. I haven't done this yet. Big face cam. So this is a game working. Oh no, I just fucking closed it because I don't know what I'm doing ever.
Don't do that.
But yeah, you can totally. Let's see how well I can play the game.
You could stop there. See how well you can play the game. You're getting rocked, man.
Not anymore. Not anymore. Oh.
Joe, I don't want to alarm you, but there's you might want to hide all your sex toys that we can all totally see in the background.
Which one?
I just made that up. Oh no, that's just Mike Dice. It's so sexy that
Oh my God.
I.
So yeah, you can totally play this ambush level, and it's pretty good. Right now, so what I did was I made it so that, the left side makes you run to the left and the right side makes you run to the right. I used the double, like both. If you hit both fingers, it jumps, but then it also hovers. So what I'm going to do is make it so that you swipe up to jump. I'm going to try that out and see how that works. Because the only way you can jump is if you really quickly do like tap one way and then the other, so that you're only double tapped for a single frame.
Hey Joe, I got a question.
Otherwise, it just hovers.
Hey Joe, I got a question.
What's up?
What about levels that require a quick jump and immediate hover?
That's a good question, and I don't know the answer.
Yeah.
So, because right now, I intentionally only did that one ambush level. So.
Oh, I got another question.
Yeah.
What if you need to jump while moving?
You can do that. Nothing's stopping you.
Does it control already if you need to do that?
Well, right now it doesn't.
Oh, okay.
But so the idea is that you swipe up to jump, so you could be running in a direction, and all you have to do is move your thumb up a little bit, and you'll jump. And then you can all you do is add your other thumb to hover. So you could do that pretty easily, I think. But it's gonna be tested soon.
That's cool, man.
But yeah, it works surprisingly well given the 80 pieces that Mike is in. I'm so far pretty impressed with the performance on mobile.
For sure.
Pretty great.
Yeah, the other thing we're going to do as well. Yeah, I mean, we want it to be. If we do plan to port this to mobile, ultimately, like we want the experience to be as high quality on PC as it is, or we want it to be as high quality on mobile as it is on PC. So like we wouldn't be making any compromises on that front.
We
I would
really
imagine.
want to bring our PC port up to the standard of our native mobile app.
Well, I wasn't quite where I was going with that.
What we're getting at.
This wasn't really 100% nailing it. The intent of that statement right there, yeah. But
I'm pretty sure I got it.
It was really close, though. It was very close. Oh, man. So, I'll tell you really fast, since I guess I'm still screen sharing. This level that I'm making right now is just another really tiny little level. It has a pretty mean mechanic, though. Oops. So the goal of this one is you enter this level, and there's no exit, or the entrance is the exit to this level. So you go in, you go out. This level's just meant to be there so the player can collect one of these little orbs. So it's just an optional little challenge level. And what's happening here is there's going to be a bunch of platforms slowly moving up into this unstable energy. And players are going to have to... It's going to look like you got to ride a platform up and take the orb, but in reality, you can't do that, because if you ride it too far up, then you get trapped in this area and you're forced up into the unstable energy and you die. So the only way to actually survive this is you're going to need to ride a platform up and then jump and then quickly run off the platform before it passes at this point. It's just a kind of a nasty little gameplay puzzle. Oops, I used the P word.
What are you trying to say about the game?
I can't say it. I can't say it. No, don't even do it. It's not right. So I'll tell you all another little inside joke that we're getting at right now is one of my goals. So in reality, the title Mike Dies is pseudo puzzle platformer, but the thing is that I really don't like the term puzzle platformer, because whenever, maybe it's just me, but whenever I think puzzle platformer, I think slow-paced, methodical thinking, puzzle game experience, when in reality, Mike Dies is very fast-paced, and a lot of the gameplay is puzzling, but God damn it. Anyway.
I love that it just pains you to be like, oh,
it does. It does. It has these negative connotations to it. There's no block pushing in this game. There's no lever flipping. There's a little button hitting, but it's kind of fun because you slam your body out there.
Flipping?
There's no table flipping yet, but don't give me ideas. Maybe you have to flip a table onto a button.
CPU.
Yeah. Or I was just gonna say, yeah, like. The intention with this title is it's a puzzle platformer disguised as an action game. It does not slow down at any point. It's just very, very fast-paced, a lot of exploration, and we don't really want the player to ever become just like stuck on a puzzle. That's the one thing I really want to avoid, because that shit just really turns me off from puzzle platformers. Or if there are any instances where that can happen, they're going to be very, very secret rooms. It's never going to be on the critical path. So yeah, the goal of the game is exploration and action and thinking through gameplay. Everything you need to solve puzzles. God damn it! To solve. Okay, why not? To solve the puzzles that the game, to solve the challenges, to bypass the challenges that the game presents, they are present to you from the get-go through your basic actions.
From
So
the get-go?
that's from the get-go. Did I tell you that I saved a ton of money on car insurance by switching to Geico?
Or did you
Yeah.
save money on margin insurance?
Well, that was the first thing I said, yeah, but what I meant to say was money on car insurance, yeah. Insurance, that's what I just said. I can't talk. It's 1:30. That's my excuse every day, but it's usually true. It's usually 1:30. In St. John's, it's always 1:30. That's it's the saying
On
around
a Wednesday,
here.
right?
On a Wednesday, well,
Isn't it always Wednesday there?
it's always Wednesday in St. John's.
Wednesday? The day of
When-
wind?
Wednesday. Wednesday. Hey, speaking of NES. NES.
I hate you.
I know. Anyway, you made me go there. I didn't want to do it, but I had to.
Yeah, I guess I asked for it. Is that
You
what you're
did.
saying?
You're kind of asking for it a little bit.
Okay, well, I'm taking over. So here's a fun bug. I gotta figure out here. This is my nightmare, basically, right here. Is that these platforms? These are moving platforms which can carry you, which seems like a simple thing. Unfortunately, it's not, because you have to write like really specific code to add this mechanic into a game. It's not. It doesn't just happen automatically, like I wish it did. So the other part is that they need to be able to push you. So if you're just hanging out and you jump up here, it's got to push you along, and it's got to push you. So I mean, that part works with, of course, even yet more code, but the weird part is that it doesn't work so well when you're hovering. It pushes you under the object for no reason that I can tell. It's a little troubling. So we're gonna find out why that happens. Go on an adventure with me to find out why this happens. Let's look at some code. Let's look at some happy codes. Here's our solution. So it's got to be in the player control, which is the biggest, ugliest script that we have. Well, actually, it may be equal to like telelim or something like that. It's pretty gross.
I was gonna ask if you've seen the Trigger Zone script recently, but I guess that's probably a nice script.
I honestly don't think is that bad. Partly because I had to redo it so many times. Yeah, I mean, it's honestly, it's not horrible.
Sure.
I don't think it's my favorite, but it's not horrible. Let's check all this stuff out. Oh, also, for any of you who are curious, this is our source control. So right now, this is our Mike Dies folder, and I can go into this scripts folder right here. Here are all the scripts, and I can just go ahead and check these out for edit. And that way, it's going to actually communicate with the server, and now I have all of these checked out. And it's lovely. Oh, chat. That is chat. That doesn't need to be there anymore. Let's remove that. Great. Okay. So is our body bot still working? Great. Hopefully. Chrome was really fucking up my shit, so hopefully that has hopefully that's no longer the case. Let's get back here and let's make sure this is working. You. Sweet. Okay. Everything's great. Let's see. Okay, so the player control here, it's got to be somewhere in like the hover, but there has to be, so it's on controller collider hit. This is the big ugly function that does a bunch of horrible things. So, is there anything about hovering in here? No, I guess not. Controller collider, okay. Okay, so I think part of the issue is that this like moves the, so push direction, at the end, does this actually move the character? No, it doesn't. Doesn't seem to. Push joint, okay. Let's see. Where the fuck is this stuff? Moving plat. Okay, so all of this should be the thing that we're looking at here. And just to make sure, let's just print out to the debug log here. Hit a moving platform. And if we get that all up in our Unity here, we should at least be able to make sure we're hitting the right part of this. And now we do this. There we go. Okay. So we're definitely getting that. What's up?
Oh, I just discovered the level I want to make is impossible.
That's sad.
Yeah, it's okay. I'm modifying it right now. So turning it from impossible to fun possible.
Wow.
Yeah. Yep. No, I think I can get this. It's going to be a slight pain. But I've got a rework for this level that I think is gonna work. Sorry, continue. I didn't mean to interrupt. Just wanted to give you a progress report.
No, that's quite alright.
So how come now when I click on something like bullet prefab, it doesn't automatically locate it within the project explorer?
What are you talking about?
So can you see my screen really fast?
Yeah, I'll make it big.
Oh. You don't need to show it on stream or not, but either way, I'll just show you this. Can you see?
Mm-hmm.
So when I click on bullet prefab, it doesn't highlight it within the project hierarchy. This is actually, I've noticed this happening for other things too. If I go to another level really fast and click moving platform, right? I click on the animation or the material element, it doesn't go to the project viewer anymore.
I'm fairly certain it does for me.
Huh, maybe I'm doing something weird.
Yeah, it totally does for me.
The hell?
I don't know, man. That totally works for me.
Weird.
Why did that not work? Oh, it looks like you have your project tab locked, like an asshole.
I don't. Oh my god, I do.
So fired. Does it work now? Does it work now? Does it work now? Does it work now?
Yeah, it works.
Hey, look at that. Hey, look at that.
Look at that. It's really good, thanks. It's great.
Sweet.
It's great.
Alright, so let's
Fuck.
test this now. Okay, so we're still getting it, so it's not this guy over here. This is always the fun thing to do, is that you just keep commenting out code until you figure out what's doing what. Okay, that worked so far. Nope, it still pushed me down. Yep, it still pushed me down. Okay. Let's see. What else? What else can we comment out? Actually, where is the thing? Oh, okay, so this becomes my active platform. Let's find out where we're doing active platform stuff. Okay, right, active platform global point. Here we go. New platform point. Ashmere, what's up? We're just trying to debug a thing right now, or at least I am, and Alex is trying to make a level, I guess.
I'm attempting to make a level.
Yeah.
With mixed results.
Move distance, not move direction. I'm gonna try something a little hacky.
Hacky?
Yeah, I never do that, I know.
That's my favorite word.
I know that I never do that, but I'm gonna do it now. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm just making, so the problem is that this platform is pushing us down when it's not supposed to, so what I'm gonna do is make sure that your moving platform never changes your Y position to see, like, basically what this will do is this will make sure that that it's never to make sure that the actual this whole section right here is not the part that's pushing you down. And if we can kind of prove that, then we've narrowed down our options a bit. Well, we are a company of sorts, but I suppose to answer your question in the way that I assume you meant it, no, this is not a licensed project or anything like that. We are making the game that we want to make. We're making it for ourselves and for the people. We're making it for the people. And also to make lots of money, all of the money, godly money.
That is the dream.
Okay, so interesting. So even though these platforms are not able to change my Y position, it still is in fact pushing me downward. That is interesting indeed. Yeah, this is just our project because we like fun. Well, except Alex.
I've heard that I'm no fun. That is word on the street.
It's not that you're not fun, it's that you don't like fun. Or is it that it is that yeah, you're just no fun.
That's possible? To like fun but not be fun.
Yeah, I suppose so.
I guess, yeah, I can see that.
It's not, I will go as far as to say it's not a logical impossibility.
Yeah. No, I can see where you're coming from.
Okay, good, because I can't.
Yeah, I'm just trying to humor you here. I don't know what's going on.
Wow.
I don't even know what's going on.
Okay, so, well, that makes two of us, because
wow,
this, yeah, I said it.
Bullets aren't working. They're probably working. Anyway, I need help when you're done. Well, actually, I'm going to try this a few more times. It's probably something really stupid I'm doing.
Okay, so this is intergravity calculations. Wait, what's up? What do you need? What?
Don't worry about it yet. Everything's fine.
Are you sure?
Carry on. No.
Are you sure?
Carry on.
All right. So what I'm gonna do is say, it's gonna be like, well, it is a platformer, so in that sense, it is. That's about as far as the Mario comparison can really go. But Alex, maybe you want to elaborate. So, what is the game like, especially in comparison to Mario? Because you said visually it kind of looks like that, and it is kind of a side-scrolling 2D-ish platformer of sorts.
Yeah, I could see the comparison for sure. It's basically a Metroidvania light with dynamic physics-based fatalities. Essentially, you control this character and you try to navigate him through a space station, finding all these collectibles and trying to unravel the mystery of what happened here. And while you're doing that, your character can die in just the worst, most brutal possible ways. So that's kind of the game at a high level, and we're really trying a lot with minimalism as far as level design is concerned. There's a lot of content that we're developing that we're developing for it, but it's all based off a few very, very simple mechanics. So we're basically just seeing how far we can stretch a single mechanic, and so far the answer is quite a bit. So yeah, and it's all kind of tied together in this really surreal, bizarre sci-fi narrative. So that's kind of our high level game design in a nutshell, I guess you could say. That's my spiel.
Good spiel.
Thanks, man. I gotta keep my voice down too because I'm gonna wake my roommates. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. Yeah, we've been working on it. We've been working on it for quite some time. You're not really going to see the backgrounds, like a bunch of the background art and the stuff we're doing because we're just working into these test levels right now. But we've got some artists as well who are on board, and they're very solid at what they do, and some of the stuff they're putting together is starting to look really, really nice. So
Velox94 followed. Thanks for the follow.
Oh, thank you for the follow. So yeah, this is what we're working on right now.
Yeah, it's aight.
Yeah. Why are these bullets just not working?
Bullets not working?
Yeah, that's why I copy stuff all the time because I'm like, you know what? No, not this time. I'm gonna make this from scratch and it's gonna be great. And then I start trying to do it, and it turns out I can't really do that very well. Not great at that. Oh, I figured it out. Anyway, as you were. Yeah, my bullets are huge.
This thing, okay. Yeah, Ashmir said it looks really good. Thanks, man. It's this. Honestly, all of what you're saying doesn't even have any art in it. But the game does actually have art. It's a thing that has some arts. We should. Do we have a link to our video, our GDC video, or the Unity 5 one? I feel like we should have that somewhere. Just because.
Yeah. We have the video that kind of showcases some of the deaths from the game that we just kind of put together for GDC. I can send you a link to that if you want to pass that along.
Yeah, I'm gonna. Here it is, Death Reel.
Death Reel, that's it. I'm such an idiot. I'm sitting here looking on YouTube through all the things I'm subscribed to. I'm like, where the fuck is Psydra Games channel? And then I realize I'm logged in as the Psydra Games channel. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So, funnily enough, the one thing I can't do in this little bot is actually post links. So maybe I'll have to figure that out one day. Where'd your Skype go?
My Skype? Oh, I stopped sharing. Do you want me to share again?
Well, yeah, I had you up on stream. I don't know why.
Oh, sorry, I didn't. Oh, well, I see.
So for anyone curious, that is our that's our video, like a quick death reel for our game. It's a few of the many ways that you can die horribly in it. Okay,
We are the original Dumb Ways to Die video game.
Wow. It's a bold statement.
Yeah. Take that, Dumb Ways to Die. Booyah.
Yeah, you really showed them.
I showed them. Teach you to teach people about train safety.
What?
You know, that's what that video was.
Train
You know that,
safety?
right?
No.
Yeah, it's about train safety. I'm not making this up. I'm pretty sure I'm not making this up. It's like a Metro sponsored video about teaching people not to stand too close to the edge of the railroad tracks and get themselves killed.
Wow.
Yeah, the more you know.
That is something else.
Something special. You just got a knowledge bomb dropped on you.
That's what happened.
Just dropped the knowledge bomb on you.
Push Y false. Push Y. Well, okay, so this whole pushing stuff on the Y does not seem to be going so well. So actually, let's double check what these things are tagged as, just in case. These should be moving platforms, right? Yeah. So it's moving plat. Has a bullet script. It does not have a moving plat script on it. It has the thin platform script on it, but it's disabled. So that's useful. Okay. Okay, so it's tags moving plat, so that's all we have to worry about. Ashmere followed. Thanks, man.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for the follow.
Let's see. Got that head explode. Okay, so moving plat. I wish I could collapse these sections. These are normal. It's less than 0.9.
Right.
Guess this would be true. Push direction.
This thing I just made, I think, is a pretty dirtbag level.
You made
I'll show you in a sec.
Bag level?
I was just trying to find some way to describe how mean this level is. That's what I got.
Good description.
Appreciate that.
Okay, so we're still getting nothing for the Y push here. Still telling us like, hey, I pushed you to the right a little bit here, but zeros all along the Y, so it's none. So it's not in there.
You know what the worst sound in the world is?
I have no idea.
Hearing something tiny in metal hit the ground under your desk. Because you're like, is my desk gonna fall apart?
That was pretty specific.
Yeah. Oh boy, this level. This is a mean shit. I mean, the reason I'm being so specific here is that is exactly what happened. Exactly what happened just a moment ago. Oh, this is mean. I'd like everyone to know that I'm not apologizing for any of the levels in this game.
Okay.
Just
Cool story, bro.
Just none of them. Except this one, actually. This is fucked up. This is really fucked up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll show you in a sec. Oh, boy. Hey, Joe, check this action out. You want to maximize me for a sec?
I'll make you big.
Make me big. I love it when you make me big.
Yeah, show me.
Okay, so this is the
So
level,
you have
right?
to get that orb there. That is.
Gotta get that orb.
Has no
So
material.
obviously, if I do that, I can't survive. So what you
have
gotta
to
do?
jump.
Yeah, gotta jump at just the right time. Then you gotta run. Oh fuck! I didn't make it. I might have to slow it down
You
a
have
little.
to be
Actually, it's a
better
little
than you
tight.
at the game. Is what
Yeah.
you do. Nice.
Yeah. Well, maybe I'll keep it. I lived once.
Wow.
I do twice in a row. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. It's fine. It's great. Players are gonna love that. They're gonna have a great time.
Yep. That's what's gonna happen. Players are gonna love it.
Yeah. If you're off by just a little bit, you're dead. So it's a fun, cute little level. Actually, I want to talk to you about this really fast too. So, do you see this energy right here that's going on while I got your attention?
I do see your energy.
So you see how it's all not the right way? It should be the other way, right? So one thing I obviously could do,
Yeah.
I could obviously do that, but it does start to get a little obnoxious when it's like turned sideways, because this means I have to work with like 90 and negative 90, right? I don't know, it's a little bit frustrating. I was wondering if there was, because I don't like to change the z-axis stuff here, because if I got to start resizing stuff, it gets all hairy. So I was wondering if there was an alternative to doing that. I don't know what it would be. I tried putting like negative texture scaling stuff. That didn't work, so.
Yeah, I would imagine.
Yeah.
I think I can work around that. I think I can work around that. I'll give it a try real quick.
Okay.
Let's do that. Since that's gonna be easier than this fucking bullshit physics stuff that I gotta do.
Sounds good.
So that's in the texture scroller, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so my idea for this is that there will be a let's see, horizontal scroll speed, so texture scale, and then I'm gonna have a boolean right under that for flip Y, default to false. Flip Y scale, I guess we'll call it that, so it's a little more obvious what I'm talking about.
What if I need to turn it like 90 degrees instead of 180?
What? Then wouldn't you just? Oh, I think I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
I can't rotate a texture as far as I know. You can just fucking rotate it 90 degrees and fucking deal with it. I don't understand. Why is it a big deal to rotate an object?
Well, the only reason that it's even a little bit of a hassle is because sometimes when I'm working with it, like I have to scale things up and down, and when you start rotating, it starts getting really confusing. But it's not a big issue. I mean,
Scale things up and down.
Yeah, I mean, because you know, you turn this 90 degrees, right? Like, let's just say like this, and now technically, you know, visually, right? You'd think that this would still be Y and this would still be X, but now it's actually Y is the X and X is the Y, right? Because of this rotation, it just gets confusing to work with.
Gotcha.
But
okay, so here's my proposal for that. We should have two. We might as well just have two different textures then. One that is the vertical version, one is that's the horizontal version.
Yeah, that sounds good to me.
That's going to be a much better way to handle that.
Yeah, let's just do that then.
But then I have to... Let's just So I'm going to add the flip X scale thing in here then as well, because you have to do that. Okay, so what we're going to do if this is the case is we have our texture scale. So what we would have to do for this is, let's say so this offset right here, my offset is, let's see, my offset is vector 2. So actually we can just make it a new vector. So new vector 2, and we'll make that, let's say it's 0.5. Actually, this is the y. Let's say it's the y. Texture scale. Offset. Yeah, so 0 and then 0.5. And that is if flip Y scale. So let's see how that looks.
Okay.
Not what I'm doing here. Create 3D object. We're going to create a quad. Let's shrink it down a bit. Stretch it out here. And let's see.
I'm starting to fade a little bit.
Unstable. Starting to fade.
Yeah, it's around 2 o'clock, and I do have to work tomorrow.
Where's your unstable material that you're using? Oh, I think I found it. Texture scroller. Okay, so let's flip the... Okay, so let's see what it looks like when I do 0.5 and 0.5 and it scrolls horizontally. It's gonna look a little like that. So what we need to do is we need to flip that so that it's down below here. So if we flip the Y scale...
Shadow Killer 69X, what's up? Do it. Do your question. Ask your question.
Got
an answer.
Actually, it's good also that you that also reminds me. I actually have a task for specifically for questions, which is I want to make like some kind of command that you can do for like if you want to ask a question, and it'll actually like play a little chime in there, but it's
think
not.
You wanna,
it's not going to
block
be
this one.
It's not going to be for that one, unfortunately.
I think you're gonna want to block the Shadow Killer guy.
Yeah, I did.
Alright, cool. Sorry, go on. What were you saying?
And also, you can't duck my mom because nobody can duck my mom.
Yeah.
Just so you know.
Mother Ducker.
So yeah, let's see. So without the flip Y scale, let's see, we should be okay. So it's looking like something that would go on the top here. So what I want to do is I want to change this. Let's change the tiling. So this is what it looks like here, and if I set the offset to Y offset to 0.5, does that? Okay, so that is indeed correct. 1, 1. Okay. So if I go on the bottom here, so this would be energy that's on a ceiling somewhere, and this is so the white part would be where it kind of ends. But if we do the flip Y scale, it should... Oh, actually, okay. I think I need to build it into... I think I'm overriding it. Yeah, my offset. Okay, so... Oh, actually, I'm dumb. Let's see. So what I can do is say my offset dot x. Let's go back here. My offset dot y equals 0.5. Then what I can say is if vertical scroll speed is greater than 0, if horizontal scroll speed is greater than 0, let me do that. Great. Okay, let's give this a run. Okay. So yep. So now it's on the bottom there. And if we undo the flip Y scale, then it's on the top. Okay, so well, we still would need a solution for the vertical one. Yes. Where's that unstable texture that we're using?
Do you think that guy who came in and spammed some shit, it's not a bot, you think that was an actual human being doing that?
I would imagine so, because
It's like wondering.
really specifically waited until we acknowledged him.
Yeah, it's just like you really gotta wonder like what type of person is going to like the indie game dev section to like say that shit. It's like, dude, like there's plenty of people fucking playing League of Legends and Call of Duty on stream. It's like I just it's just weird. Frankly,
Yeah.
it's just kind of weird.
Yeah, it's pretty strange.
Pretty strange. I'm gonna stop screen sharing.
He's following Wilkie. Okay. Skype.
You say he's following someone?
Yeah, there's another dev streamer, Wilkie. He's it's a pretty popular one. It's interesting that he's following that guy. So maybe that's why he watches game dev stuff, but I feel like we've given him already a little bit too much time, so
Yeah, for sure.
Just not gonna worry about that.
That's good.
So yeah, real quick, do you know where that unstable energy texture is?
No, I don't, unfortunately. But you could just click on it and take you to the project settings, right?
Well, it'll take me there, and then from there, I gotta go to here, and then here. Okay, there it is. Yeah, it brings me to the Alright, so I'm gonna make, basically what I'm gonna do is just make a vertical version of that. I guess like, so that would mean that whenever you made you'd have to like swap out the texture. Or you have to swap out the material. I don't know if that's going to be an issue.
Well, it's just an extra step, right?
Yeah, I just don't know of any way to rotate the texture, like You can do tiling and offset, but as far as I know, you can't change a... We could look it up real quick. You need texture, rotate. Okay, rotation of UVs directly. Oh, and a shader. That's not gonna work. Texture. Let's see if we can find anything in the actual so if we said my renderer dot material,
One sec.
material,
I'm gonna grab some water. I'll be back.
name texture, offset, name texture scale, material dot. I wonder if we can, what we can access from this. We can do the color, get flow, get matrix, get vector, yeah, we can set the matrix of it. That seems unnecessarily complicated, but let's give that a little look up. Unity, what is a texture? Get matrix. See if we find anything from that. Maybe maybe there would be something actually useful. Material dot set matrix. Okay. Matrix rotation. Okay. This is not C#. Stop lying to me. Vector. Okay, so it looks like the matrix for this material has the scaling, the offset, and the rotation. So basically, it has the two things that we're already doing, and then the one that we're not. And the one that we're not using, the rotation, doesn't have an easy access variable, unfortunately, which is pretty annoying. But if we were to set the matrix of this, and let's see, matrix 4x4 TRS, new int, what? Oh, name ID, property name, string property name. Property name. Set a named matrix for the shader. This does not seem right. Oh, okay, so it's matrix underscore rotation. Alright, so let's just... So this is the code from the Unity thing. So quaternion... I don't know why they use the var keyword. It's fucking horrible. Okay, so theoretically, renderer. Theoretically, this should rotate the material. So I guess we can give it a shot. see if we at least get the material rotating, and then we can take it from there. If it wants to play, maybe. Doesn't appear to be rotating.
Yo.
Set the word.
Hey. Oh, hello, Zilithax. Welcome.
Oh, did I miss somebody? Oh, yeah, what's up, Zilithax? Fucking totally didn't see that. I was too engrossed in this horrible horrible shit right here. Oh, it's only in the start. I'm an idiot. This needs to go in the update function. So let's see what happens when this happens. Okay. I'm seeing if I can rotate this. It's a ridiculous amount of stuff to even try and do this, but it's not behaving. It's not doing what it needs to do. Time. Material. That's set matrix. Isn't that? Yeah. Rotation. Let's see what happens if I just comment out everything except for this one. So this is the only thing that's happening.
Got a lot of levels to make.
You have a lot of levels to make?
Got a lot of levels to make.
Nah, you're just bitching.
Oh, really?
Do anything.
I appreciate that. You said I'm bitching. That means cool, right? Yeah. Have you ever heard somebody say that word like that, where they're just like, "Yeah, man, that's bitching." It's like they mean that's cool. Like, have you ever heard somebody say that? It's really weird. It's kind of weird. Like, given enough time, I think.
Like outside of like movies, you know.
Yeah, but it's like weird how like people take a word that has a negative connotation and like use it in a positive way. Like, man, you're so bad. You know. I've said that to people. That's always been ironically. Hurry, change the subject. I'm done.
Sure. Did I miss something there?
You used to hear bitching, yeah. Do you ever hear hella? Do people still use hella out in California? Or at least in the San Francisco area?
Hella. You said that 25 years ago.
I used to.
Is that a thing that still happens in California?
You mean California?
Hell, wow.
Yeah. No, I used to hear it. Like I used to say, you can ask Kyle for confirmation on this. Okay, that's fair. Oops, I just said that's fair. No. I can say that's fair. I can't say fair enough. That's what I'm not allowed to say. I could say that's fair enough.
So you're smart. You left California ages ago.
Yeah, no, good call. I lived in California for about, I'd say 3 years. Yeah, that was about 5 years ago. No, more than that now, like 6 years ago maybe. And then I was actually born in California. I lived there when I was very, very young. But yeah, I used to say this to Kyle all the time. I used to be like, he's like, "Yeah, Alex, have you seen this new game?" And I'd be like, "Yeah, man, that's hella fat." And he'd just be like, "Ugh."
Yeah, is that what you said?
That's hella tight. And he'd just be like, "Oh, stop." It's true.
That's hella tight.
That's hella tight, man. He's like, that was his reaction, was that voice. Just cringe. Pretty good at making people cringe, man. Like, it's one of my talents.
Yeah, no, Kyle has confirmed that many times.
I left most of that out of Dark Scavenger, though. Like, I decided to actually try to write, like, funny humor instead of humor that just, like, made people hate life. So, I was proud of that. I said for Dark Scavenger, the items I'm okay with making puns, like, things that are just, like, literally, like, 1 or 2 words, like, really, really short strings. Like, I'm like, alright, these can be puns. But anything, any character dialogue, like there's just not going to be, unless it's like a character specific trait. There's not going to be any puns here, because puns are, they're the conversation killers, right? If you're having a good conversation with somebody and then you slip a pun in there, conversation's done. It's done right there. You just killed it. So yeah. I took I think I told you this. I took stand-up comedy class actually, probably for about a year or 2. I was growing up. That actually taught me, just stand-up comedy class actually taught me more about writing than probably any
comedy.
Well, I mean, no. Like what's really interesting is a lot of people who try to do stand-up comedy, right? Like, if they don't get formal training first, what you don't appreciate is that there's actually structure to jokes. Like there's a science behind it. There's a formula, right? And like if you just go in there and you're just like, oh yeah, I'm funny in my little group of friends, or all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna like look for funny things in reality and just say them on stage. Like, did you know that like did anyone notice how like chairs have 4 legs? Like, I'm going to say that really funny shit on stage, right? Like, that doesn't work. I mean, obviously, I'm just saying, like, that wasn't a good example either. I'm just saying, like, that's not there's actual structure to jokes, right? And if you don't know what that structure is, you don't have a baseline for your writing, and everything you do, like, you might get 1 or 2 things off, but you're firing blindly, right? Like, you're spraying and praying, essentially, at that point. You have no technique, so you can't really improve. So, anyway.
Spraying and praying, wow.
Spraying and praying, yeah. Had to work that in there, so. Anyway, it's important. I think it's really important that if anyone's going to do any sort of comedy writing, like, they don't take a comedy writing course. They just fucking do stand-up comedy for several years. I mean, excuse me, they take class from a good teacher on it and learn what actual joke structure is. Super important. I don't know how I got into that tangent. I just kind of randomly went into that.
Well, I'm just gonna make this flip X scale. My offset dot X equals 5. There we go. Okay. So yeah. So there's that. So to rotate it, though, that's going to be a whole different issue. I think we're going to be better off actually making a vertical material, which is it's not the worst, but
so Joe, are you familiar with Indie E3?
that sounds kind of familiar.
Me and Frank did a few Indie E3 panels last year. It's basically just during E3.
Isn't it like, is it during? Isn't it like the week before, the week after? It's during?
Yeah, I believe it's during. I could be wrong. assuming they're doing it again, it's possible for people to like create panels and just just volunteer to speak on certain days. We should do one, me and you, if you want, and maybe AJ too, or Chris.
Yeah.
So we should probably try to figure out a topic. I think that'd be the next step there, right? But
it seems like too much work.
Yeah, maybe.
We just get that part of it. Just go straight to talking.
Yeah. No, it was pretty good last year. I mean, I think one of our streams, like, I think it got up to it's probably close to 1,000 people, and it's really interesting because obviously, it's not like I really do a lot of big Twitch streams or anything like that. So it's like really interesting, like when you're doing a stream like that, because it's like you're just sitting at home in front of your computer, right? And you're just like talking to people, but if you really stop and think about it, you're talking to like an auditorium full of people. It's a little weird. Like there are more people that could fit in an auditorium sitting there in front of you, like listening. It's not really intimidating. It's just odd, an odd thing to think about. Anyway, tangent again. When I'm getting ready for bed, I have lots of deep thoughts. Maybe I could have just said I have many thoughts.
It's easier because you're not really like seeing everybody, right? Like
no, that's true.
Kind of.
No, that's true.
Well, this is super interesting.
I didn't realize my start was that interesting.
I may have discovered what the problem is actually.
Oh, what's going on?
That's why. Okay, that's why Facts Platform equals no.
I don't know, Zillithax. I prefer speaking publicly without pants. That's maybe just me. I don't know. It's a preference thing.
So I'm gonna try this now real quick. So yeah, so I did something interesting, which is I commented out the part. Oh man, now I gotta figure this out. God damn it. I commented out the part of the oh wait. I definitely had a mini breakthrough. So I commented out the part of the code that that does the actual hover, and sure. And it's the part that basically makes you kind of stay in place, and it makes it so that you makes it so that the platform, when you're hovering, goes straight through you instead of here we go. So I have this weird thing. So there's a slight issue with the way that okay, so this is actually a perfect example of why I'm doing this. So I have this weird piece of code in here that I'll show you right here, that basically I alternate between, instead of when you're hovering, you're actually moving up and down and left and right constantly, because of because if you are at 0, if we just completely make it so that you don't move whatsoever, then what happens is it actually it will actually make it so that you don't collide with things.
Interesting.
So what happens is when you're hovering, if we zero you out, that platform that comes straight for you just goes right through you, because you're technically, because the controller, that collider doesn't move at all, then you don't collide with things. There's no collision detection there.
Interesting.
So yeah, that becomes a bit of a problem. But I just want to see something real quick. Yeah, these don't have... Where is this? I wonder if I can correct this actually by putting a... Shit, I lost it. There you are. I'm just going to put a rigid body on it. See if that does anything. Component, you're not going to use gravity, you're going to be kinematic. If this does anything at all. Okay, so... Whoa. Okay, go straight through you. Just make sure that's correct. You have a rigid body. Okay, so this is kind of an issue because what this ends up doing, for some reason, what this ends up doing is it breaks the pushing of, like, when this object goes to push you, it's because of this hover, the pushing isn't accurate for some reason. Like it'll push you down because of the weird angle that you're colliding with this platform at. So what I think I need to do here is actually make this move direction equal to vector 3.0. So I'm going to actually zero it out, but what I'm going to do to kind of make up for this is I'm going to actually put it in the code for, let's see, so where we actually go to move, dot move. So when we actually go to move the character, I want to check if move direction equals vector 3.0, then we're gonna correct that. Equals.
You know what's awkward?
I have no idea what's awkward.
Oh, I could help you with that. No, awkward. So, when your relative says something like really awkward and embarrassing on your Facebook wall, like without giving any context at all, it just makes it even weirder than it should be. Yeah. I won't say what the actual post was because, you know, not everyone here needs to know what's going on my Facebook wall. But anyway, I posted about a date not going so great, right? That's the high level. And I was talking about the absolute worst things I could possibly do to impress somebody. And when I was a lot younger, and I'm talking like 10 to 12 years old, I don't even remember, it was within that range, I was in a cab back in San Francisco with my aunt, and we had this little thing that we got in like a joke shop. It was like this Play-Doh, and you put your fingers in it, and it makes like a fart sound, right? And it was hilarious at the time when I was 8. It was, or 10, however old. It was really funny to me, and we did it. in the backseat of a cab, and the cab kept looking back at us like, what the hell are you two doing back there, right? Because he didn't know we were activating with the toy. That's the whole story of the fart toy, right? Anyway, so in the middle of this Facebook thing, I'm talking about how a date didn't go so well, and the worst things I could possibly do to impress somebody. My Aunt Karen, like, there's a thread of tons and tons of people, coworkers, friends from the past, who didn't know my aunt from back then. She says, "Don't forget the fart toy." It's just like, am I going to have to explain this on my Facebook wall now? Because I'm definitely going to have to talk about this to my coworkers tomorrow. It's just a perfectly innocent, extremely personal story about how my date didn't work out, and you're saying something random like that. It's great. Can't wait for tomorrow.
Yay, fart toy stories.
Fart toy. Sorry, carry on. just any time you get a notification on Facebook and it says you see your relative's name, you're just like, oh fuck, what happened? It's like you automatically go into like damage control mode, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, I guess you could probably relate. I won't talk about those stories on stream, but anyway. I've actually explicitly told my parents, I'm just like, listen, totally cool with you being on Facebook with me, but you can't ever talk to me on Facebook. I know that sounds rough, but just don't ever do it. Don't make this another MySpace. Anyway, the big problem too, especially when reconnecting with people from your past, is, as you know, like, you know, a lot of these people knew me when I was growing up, and you know, and it's great. I mean, obviously, it's still, I want to stay in contact with these people, but you know, we have a pre-existing relationship, but I usually end up using my social media stuff for not really just reconnecting with people from the past, but for business contacts, right? And I had this one buddy. Did I tell you the story about my my buddy who I used to hang out with, who's an artist? He was actually going to work on Mike Dies for a little while.
No.
So I had a business contact on my Facebook who basically he was a judge at the like, because I told you about I won the karaoke contest a while back, which is a really silly thing, but anyway. He was one of the judges there, and he's actually kind of big in the music industry within St. John's. And he had this view about art censorship that I think conflicted with my friend's view. And my friend, little to my knowledge, it wasn't on my Facebook wall, but my friend actually messaged him directly. And I don't know what he said to him to this day, but it was so bad that this business contact of mine blocked me. And I had to talk to my business contact. I'm like, yo, everything okay? He's like, dude, your friend just like fucking cussed me out. Like, I don't want anything to do with you guys. And I had to talk to my friend. I'm like, hey, you're my buddy. I like you. But if you do that again, I'm gonna have to defriend you. Wow. It's the hardest thing I've ever had to say to somebody, to threaten to defriend somebody, man. It's some rough shit. Broke my heart a little bit to say those words. So yeah.
That's pretty crazy.
That's pretty nuts. Sorry, so how's the platform physics stuff going?
Well, it's different.
Good different? Hold on. So I know the problem used to be you jump up and hover and it would push you down. I just looked at your screen and I saw it push you up.
Yep, that's what it does now.
That is incredible.
Okay, yep. Got no idea why it does that. Yep, wow. really don't know why it does that.
It's pretty bizarre. Yeah, I've got at least 5 or 6 levels sketched out when that mechanic is working. I'm just gonna yeah, I'm going to go to town. There's some really interesting shit I'm gonna do. A lot of it's really surprise, surprise. It's pretty evil. I'm not gonna lie. You know, it's such a huge difference between these Kaizo levels, the Gremlin levels, and those clone levels I was making a while back. The clone levels were so difficult to make that I was lucky if I could get like more than one of them in a week because they were so challenging. But the Kaizo levels, man, I made 12 levels last week. Like, it felt good.
Wow.
Yeah, look at me. Look at me. No, but it's kind of a refreshing change of pace. Like, I feel like I'm finally making progress in the game again. Now all we have to hope is that players enjoy them. So, unrelated, that final word count on Dark Scavenger, man, it's freaking nuts.
Right?
Oh my god. So apparently, Dark Scavenger is longer than Ender's Game. And it's longer than 6 Goosebumps books.
Are you getting word counts from somewhere?
Yeah, me and Kyle were looking up word counts last night, because I don't know why. We're about half the size of a Game of Thrones book. And we are approximately only a sixth of the size of War and Peace. So basically, Goosebumps is to Dark Scavenger as Dark Scavenger is to War and Peace. I thought that was important trivia to know. So if this ever comes up on Jeopardy, you'll know exactly what to say.
I'm really glad about that.
Yeah. I told you we're in a bundle right now, right? The Groupies Be Mine bundle.
I don't know.
Gotcha.
Is that a thing?
Yeah. I can send you a link if I don't know if you want to put it to chat or not, or just probably not. It's probably better if people just I think to be honest, because then we actually make money from it. But yeah, it's pretty cool though. Like, you know, it's so weird because it's such a niche game, but like, I don't know, man. People seem to. I don't know. It's just cool to see people like knowing about it and excited for it. Like, I told you when I was at GDC a few years ago when we first launched the game, there were people who I met obviously for the first time, and I'm like, oh yeah, what do you work on? They're like, oh, I worked on this big indie game something. I'm like, oh, that's awesome. They're like, what'd you work on? I'm like, oh, I worked on some game called Dark Scavenger. They're like, whoa, that game's cool. It's a really nice thing to hear.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, and this year actually, I kind of knew him beforehand, but yeah, you know that game, The Talos Principle, right? Did I tell you about this already?
No, I don't think so.
Oh shit, Jonas. I'm not good at his last name. He's a really cool guy. He wrote the game The Sea Will Claim Everything. Anyway, he wrote Kairatzi's. I'm terrible with his last name. He
The fuck are you talking about?
the writer of The Talos Principle.
Oh.
Yeah, I met him at GDC because Talos Principle was nominated for an IGF and award. And yeah, I'm like, yo, Jonas. He's like, oh, hey. I'm like, oh yeah. I wrote Dark Scavenger. He's like, holy shit! And he talked about it for like 10 minutes. It's crazy, man. Like there are people who like the game. It's really cool to hear. It's all you can ask for, right?
Yeah, that's pretty awesome.
That's good. The project was such a nightmare. You know, the first time that somebody ever said, once we finished the game, the first time that somebody said to us, hey, like, I think it was somebody, he wrote in from, I think it was Alaska, and he said, yo, I just wanted to let you know, like, Dark Scavenger, like, it's really weird, but, like, made me really happy, and I played through it 5 times, and I love the characters. I hope you're making another one. It was, like, the first time we got that email, it's like, I was, obviously, I know you were, I know everybody was, just so stressed from the development of that project, but that first time that letter came through, it was like, we did it. Like, it was all worth it. Doesn't even matter if we never sell another fucking copy of this game. Like, right now, it's worth it. We're good.
Yeah, pretty awesome.
It's a good feeling. Fuck, man, like, I'm like really tired. I think you probably noticed that, but all I want is like, no, he didn't know that. All I want to do, like my goal, I mean, I'd like to be able to live off what we do, obviously, but my second only goal is just to know that, you know, not only are we making people like happy with, or, you know, entertaining people, but we're inspiring people. If we make a title that inspires 5 other people to make games or make sections of games, like, then we've contributed to the art form, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, that's my high level goal. I think when we finished Dark Scavenger, there were some people who were, I don't know if anything ever came of it, but there were people who were saying, like, you know, who started working on really similar projects, and they're just like, oh yeah, like, I really like the mechanics that these guys used in this title. Like, I'm gonna make a similar thing. Like, you know, it was obviously when you're making a game, you find yourself referencing 100 different titles. Whenever we work on Mike Dice, I find myself, oh, thanks, man, thanks, Automatos. I find myself referencing games. Like, we'll be working on this, I'm like, oh yeah, like, you know, the secret rooms, I want to get that sensation of discovery from, like, the new Mario Brothers games. I want the exploration, the unlocking of shortcuts from Dark Souls. You know, I want this kind of room, like, sector by sector feel of 6Vs or Addams Family Values. Yeah, it's a weird game to reference, but basically it's like, hey man.
What's up, Automotos?
Welcome. But to know that there is someone out there who said, oh yeah, I'm taking this concept from Dark Souls, this concept from Shadow of the Colossus, gonna borrow this from Dark Scavenger. It's like, it feels good, man. It's cool. We added to something that somebody's doing. I don't know. I just find that sensation kind of sick. Good sick. Yeah, for sure, man. Yeah, just, I don't know, my overall goal, I think, just in the industry, right? I mean, like, you know, if we're functioning as game developers and designers, you know, I just want to make sure that, you know, we're contributing to this medium that we're pushing forward, right? I want to be constantly just, even if it's simple things, even if it's just gameplay concepts, I want to be pushing things forward just at a high level. I want to know that we are doing our part to continue to evolve this. That's all I care about. You'll get there, man. So yeah, Joe, I'm gonna ask you a question
What is that?
because I'm super tired and all high level right now, or maybe just high, but no, I'm not actually high. Anyway, question: why do you make games?
Hmm. That's a good question. I guess to have more things that would be things that I would want to play. Like, I feel like there aren't enough games that are exactly the type of thing that I would want to play.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I think that's important to really, you know, to be a fucking to do the shitty, like, kind of, you know, to give this shitty quote, like, being the change that you want to see, kind of thing.
Oh yeah, no, that's a good point. I mean, it makes sense. I think I told you that this comes up all the time at work. It's like, you know, I mean that's exactly it. I want to, you know, there's something I feel that I'm missing from not just a development perspective, but from playing games, right? And I want to make games that I myself know that I would enjoy playing. And like this comes up all the time at work because they're always like, "Oh yeah, like let's make games for." Nobody from work's watching right now, hopefully. Anyway, I was gonna say, let's make games that like we think will make money, but it's never. Let's make a game we're passionate about, right? And as a result, it's you just don't end up making something of value, right? Because my parents, you know, they're musicians. I think I told you this, and they had this really good saying that it's a creed that I still live by. It's if you're not making something important to yourself, right? Why is it going to be important to anybody else? So, makes a lot of sense. Sorry, I'm rambling. Automotus, sorry, I can't read from here, is asking what the progress is.
Oh boy. It's not.
I hear you, Automotus. Yeah. Yeah, if you're just wondering about the progress in general, Automotus, it's progressing well. I mean, overall. I mean, I know that we're in a few hitches right now, but making a lot of progress. Game's coming along really well. I've got a lot of content. It's just gonna be a matter of polishing it up pretty soon from an art side and making from a playability side.
Weird.
What's up?
I think I may have something resembling an answer. So, so this is actually super important. I'm kind of debugging this whole issue, and it looks like, and I fucking have no idea how to fix this, but But at least I know what the problem is that if you watch, like, so I'm gonna jump and hover and get pushed by this here box, and that's gonna show something interesting in this old log that I have right here. So okay, so right there was this pushed me a little bit to the right, but it also pushed me up a lot for no apparent reason. The interesting thing is what I'm printing out here is the normal of the collision that happened, and the disturbing part of this is that the very first one is 1.0 00, but then it instantly goes to 0 1.00, and that's doesn't seem right.
Interesting.
I guess this is because I'm going, like, I get right on top of it, and then from that point on it's 0. So I get a collision directly on the X here. But then, for no reason that I can figure out, that pushes me up, and then I'm standing on this instantly, like the very next frame. And actually, so what I'm gonna try to do is make this platform like fucking enormous, so that it has to push me like way up, and we're gonna see how that works out. I may have to actually put this turret, move it up a lot to be able to even see what the fuck's going on here.
Gotcha.
But yeah, so this will be, yeah, it pushes me all the way up, like fucking ridiculous.
Sigh. Oh, Automatus, do you do like client work or anything like that, or is it more independent stuff that of like a genre that you feel is like the money making genre that you don't have passion for? Like I'm just curious. Like I'm used to doing a lot of client stuff at work, and sometimes you get clients who are really great. Like we've worked with like in the past we worked with like, you know, like some pretty big studios, and just love them. But sometimes you get these clients that are just not as good, let's just say. Oh, nice. Okay, that's cool, man. So like kind of congregate new ground stuff. I respect that. Yeah, after working in Flash for our last project, I respect people who can do it well. Gotcha. Yeah, working with clients, man, like you do get good clients every once in a while that are great. Just so much fun to work with, but you know, obviously the company needs to make money, and not all clients the companies take on are always, you know, I can't speak to any particular clients obviously, but it's been an interesting ride with a few of them. Gotcha. So interesting. So Newgrounds and Kong don't have a lot of full games anymore. That's
Yes, it makes sense.
Yeah,
Right?
it makes
Like
sense.
you want to prototype something and kind of test it out on a market. You just toss it up there and see what happens, I guess.
for sure. There's not really. I would say there's not really a whole lot of like really full games made in Flash anymore, but I guess there are a lot of exceptions to that. I mean, I'm pretty sure that well, obviously Dark Scavenger was Flash, but But I mean, like, Botanicula and Machinarium, I think were Flash as well.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like there's some other really big ones recently. I don't remember anymore.
So in further confusion, I don't actually get any log messages about the X-axis collisions. Oh, interesting. So it pushes me up, but there's like it pushes me up for as long as I am inside of the bullet, and then it stops pushing me up.
Interesting.
And I go further if I'm hovering. It'll push me up further.
It's weird.
It's really fucking weird. Oh shit, actually, maybe I do have some idea of what's happening here. It's not great, but... So what I did here is I checked for, let's see, dot move. I checked for vector 0, but really what I need to do is make sure, so I need to check if like move direction dot x is, I guess, less than, oh, I'll just say it's 0. And if it is, if flip hover, that's a terrible idea, but move direction dot x equals push. Let's just make it negative 0.1. Let's see if that kind of does anything for us.
Yeah, Automatus, that makes a lot of sense to me. I mean, you know, obviously, also outside of the Psydra stuff, at like my day job and stuff, we develop games for, I guess you could say, a more casual audience, right? And you really see the difference because, you know, for the casual audience, the game that you're designing is just something to pass the time, right? But when you're developing a game that's for, you know, at least a mid to hardcore audience, they're playing the game to appreciate it, to experience it, and, you know, you really feel the connection with the player is a lot stronger, a lot tighter. It really, I think maybe that's where part of that passion comes from, right? So I understand that. You know, it's been really disheartening. As stated, like our last game, Dark Scavenger, you know, it hasn't had the major market success that some other titles have, some of the casual titles have, but at the same time, like, you know, the people who play it and get into it, you know, they talk about it, you know, they write to us, they talk about it to each other, there's a community. But, you know, at work sometimes we release these games to millions of people, and, you know, it's just nothing. We're just a drop in the ocean, and we haven't made any sort of splash, right? So, yeah. Yeah, that's a good point. Todd Howard he's a smart man.
That sounds familiar. Who's that?
He's the director of creative director of Bethesda. My buddy works for Bethesda, and he told me, like, during these meetings with Todd Howard, like, basically it's like anything Todd Howard says just goes. Like, that's it. Like, they'll be showing him something, and he's like, make that purple. And they're like, yes, sir! And they run over and make it purple, right? I mean, he probably knows what he's doing. It's just, I don't know, I respect that he's an incredibly experienced game developer, so like, he probably has the authority and say to make those calls. It always makes me a little nervous to see anyone in any position who isn't questioned, right?
Hmm.
I mean, I really like it when I think if I was ever in a position where everyone was just like, yes, sir, all the time, like, without asking me, like, or without contesting things that they disagreed with, I think I'd honestly be uncomfortable.
Yeah, seriously. That's because then you're just like, it's a whole like issue of people aren't being honest with me, and I have to worry about if ideas are really good and all that kind of shit. That is just, that's no fun.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Automatus, it's all about experience. It's about fucking up so many times that you learn how to fuck up less. That's honestly game design. It is making enough mistakes. I need just to watch my profanity, but it's about making so that you learn to not make those mistakes anymore. Yeah, actually, Joe, to your point that you were just talking about, I can't say what company it's, but it's one that potentially. Okay, anyway, it's one that I worked for in the past, and there was definitely that culture there where it was just like, there were people very, very high up the ladder who just said, this was, this is the way it is, and this is the call I'm making. And there were times that it was the wrong call, and it was very clear, but nobody spoke up because everyone was terrified. There were times that, like, the lead designer, which I was not at this company, but the lead designer would, somebody really high up would make a call who's coming in kind of fresh to the project, and maybe they're an experienced game developer, but they don't understand the project, and they have, they're not quite in tune with the project to the point they need to be, and they come in and make a call, and it's wrong. And this is where the lead designer is supposed to say, hey, dog. I'm sure he'd say that. Anyway, he'd say, hey, yo, this is not correct. But, we can't do this for this and this reason. But instead, he just said, yes, sir. Let me lick your shoes.
Let me lick your shoes.
It was really weird when he said that, but
yeah, it sounds like
it's a strange thing to say. Sigh. Oh god.
Do you mind if I would just lick your shoes? Can I do that?
Can I just lick your shoe really fast? I'd be really weirded out if somebody said that to me. Okay, yeah, Automatus. I think, what is it? There was just a movie about this. The Imitation Game. It was about the who's the guy? The Turing. Okay, so they say the Turing test is if somebody can to determine whether or not an AI has transcended above robot and to like a human level of thinking. It's, will it fool humans? If humans are asking this AI question, will it fool humans into thinking that it's another human, right? But I think maybe they need to get one where if an AI can design a game as well as a human can design a game. I don't know where I'm going with this, but that could totally be that kind of thing, It's 3 a.m.
Yeah.
Whenever I'm trying to tell a story and it just doesn't end well, just immediately defer to the time. I'm like, fuck, man, it's 1 p.m. Excuse only works
I don't
up
know what
to.
I'm talking about. I'm drunk.
I'm so drunk right now.
Yeah, you want to play Terraria?
No, I don't want to play Terraria. Done with that game.
I thought that's the most fun thing that you like to do when you're drunk.
I blew up your mansion once, and that was way too much fun for me.
Yeah.
Okay, I shouldn't be telling you this, but me and Kyle were joking, like, if you guys like ever really, really piss me off, I don't know how you do it, but if you ever really pissed me off, I would just log into that server, and then I'd log out, and next time you go there, you don't have a mansion anymore. It's just gone.
You know that server's not always running, right?
Yeah, but
It's
I'd wait.
it's
I'd be waiting with my stick of dynamite,
wow.
or my several sticks and all my doors. Destroy your mansion, just replace it with a huge stack of doors. Doors built on doors.
Yeah. Well, there are. I mean, there are definitely. Definitely like. There's definitely AI that can play games really well. And like there's a thing about that, about this AI playing Bubble Bobble, and like it was just this AI to play the game, right? And this AI figured out this crazy ass bug where you could just like go into a corner somewhere and just blow all these bubbles and just get a stupid amount of points. It was like some bug in the game that like nobody had ever found, but this AI doing like, you know, with like machine learning, this like little machine learning bot figured out how to do this one ridiculous thing in the game, and it was just amazing to watch.
Can you imagine a day that they're able to make AI like that just so easily and so efficiently that like they can, like an AI can find the most efficient path through any game, and it just kills the speedrunning community? Like it just like that's the end of the speed demo. That's the end of the speedrun community, which would suck because I love those guys. But that could happen.
I think it's neat, but I don't know. I think speedrunning is interesting. I think like when people find these little tricks to make things, but oh no, I never particularly enjoyed watching it.
Oh really? I find it just
Like
the
I
most
think it's interesting.
fascinating shit.
Like the biggest example is like the Ocarina of Time.
Oh, there's some that are really boring.
Yeah, or it's just like, I don't know. I guess I have this weird like this really deep, just immediate reaction against speedrunning, because I think it's the exact opposite of how games should be played. In just in my own, you know, way of being like, the whole point, the whole reason that I am here right now is just is to fucking relax and have fun, and then to just be like, all I care about is getting through this experience as fast as possible. Like, no,
I actually completely
opposite.
I completely agree with you. I mean, like, I think when the critical goals of a game, like the critical path goals of a game, revolve around speedrunning, I think it really. I can't think of many games where it's worked for me. Like, there's games that have attempted it, like Velocity, and pretty much any Japanese action game like Bayonetta or Devil May Cry, which I love Bayonetta and Devil May Cry, make no mistake. But there's this goal of speed and perfection, and honestly, that's just not how I want to play a game. I want to play a game and make mistakes. I want to play it at my own pace, and I don't like being pressured into doing that for progression's sake. But I do really appreciate it as not even an enforced goal, but just something that can be achieved, even if it's only for the player's own personal glory. And honestly, by watching people play a game like that, you just learn so much about the game. Like, you know, it just really, speedrunning honestly is actually one of the first things that, and I can't speedrun games for shit, but it's one of the first things that I've really opened my eyes to game development, like, and just how levels are really made. Like, actually, one of the pillars of Mario, believe it or not, is they wanted, in every level, they want the player to be able to go from point A to point B, point A being the beginning level, point B, of course, being the end of the level, without stopping. In any Mario level, you shouldn't have to stop and wait. You should always be able to keep running and to keep going, right? That's actually a pillar that I try to generally use in Mike Dias levels, even though there are a few times I intentionally break that. But once you know that that's in the back of your mind and appreciate that this is a possible goal, you start to see that the critical path of every level is constructed with this in mind, and it really, I don't know, I just find it kind of opens your mind a little bit. When I used to work at Vivendi, I think I told you this before, but I used to be the speedrun guy on like the Crash of the Bandicoot. So it's a weird way of saying that. On the Crash Bandicoot series, like for the not the good ones, mind you, just the PS2 ones anyway, post PS1 ones, and by watching that community, like just the subtle tricks that people would use to break games to progress them faster, like anyway, I know I wouldn't have been able to do my job without them, but I mean, I'm going in tangents right now, but to circle it back, I do completely agree. Ultimately, I think the high level goal, at least I try to enforce within titles I work on, is, from a design perspective, is ensuring that players can go at their own pace and enjoy the game like they want to enjoy it. And if people want to speedrun it, cool. The game should have hooks for that. Maybe not even enforced, but a way to do that should be present. Mm-hmm. And if players want to go at their own pace, then that's great too. Sorry, Automatus, I was kind of going on a tangent. I had my eyes closed. I'm like, it's probably too much information. I'm like lying in bed right now. It's like 3 a.m. For sure. The approach is easy to pick up, hard to master. So one thing we're doing for
emergent complexity kind of stuff.
Yeah. One thing that I'm attempting, like, yeah, it's a difficult thing to do for sure. One thing that I'm attempting from a design perspective on Mike Die is what we're working on right now, of course, is so there's the critical actions, which are things that we teach the player, and Super Metroid does this kind of thing, and I'll talk about that in a second, but there's the critical actions which we teach the player. And actually, really fast, Joe, you can hear me all right? Like, I'm not too soft?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. So there's the critical actions that we teach the player, which are what you see whenever you take a look at this game. It's walking, that's one action. Jumping, second action. Hovering is the third action. But we couple those critical actions with these secondary secret actions, is what I call them. A few of these include the fact a hover jump is something that secretly, if you hover, you get just a little bit more distance. So if you jump and then hover, you'll actually go slightly further on the x-axis than if you were to jump without hovering. And I never utilize this on the critical path. Like, the player's never required to do that, right? Or actually, let me tell you another one really fast. Another one, for example, is there's a jump buffer. And what that means is, actually, I think, Joe, this was probably your idea, but what this means is if you run off the edge of a platform, if you jump just in time, there's a split second that you can actually jump while you're in midair and continue to go further than you would normally. And high-level players figure this shit out. And it's nothing, once again, that the player is ever required to do in the course of the game. And we don't ever exploit this in the level design. Like, we're never going to have a level where you have to do either of the things I just mentioned. But if you know how to do it, you can get through the game a lot faster. And through the game, through the level design, there are subtle hints at these actions. There are times when I intentionally place hazards to make players accidentally do these things, and if players pick up on them, once again, I'm expecting like a very small percentage of players of the community to understand this and to find it. They can utilize this to increase their speed at the game, to make them faster and faster. And through these little tiny shortcuts, somebody who's speedrunning the game as opposed to a normal player, there's now a higher level to master, so to speak. There's secret depth, and it's just there for people who really study the game. So it's true. I'm actually, whenever I create a level, I never use these hooks, so to speak. Like, I never make the level around these hooks, but I keep those hooks in mind. I keep those high-level playstyles in mind, and I take it into account for high-level players to be able to sequence break ultimately and do things that normal players couldn't. Yeah, and actually, I mean that's great, by the way, that you're taking into account that everything matters to beat it. I mean, you never want to. I mean, this goes without saying. I know you know this, but you never want to introduce a tool in the game or an action in the game. Or let me rephrase that: an action or a tool that you teach the player that you don't utilize, right? So I mean that's great, but like one nice thing that you learn really quickly is that players will find things that you didn't think about. Like, even if you're not intentionally trying to build this depth, like what I was talking about right now, players will find this shit on their own. Like, there is an incredible amount of secret stuff and depth in every title that the developers never intended to add in there, that just players pick up on and they use and they utilize. Like, when I worked on Spiderwick Chronicles, based off the movie, which was very, very mediocre. But anyway, the game was also mediocre. But I worked on that, and there were these levels where you could play as this tiny little fairy-like creature. I forget what his name was now. But I learned, I was the speedrun guy on this, and I noticed that if you dropped off a ledge in a certain level, you could land on a lower section of the level and essentially skip half the level. And I was showing this to the project managers of the game, and they're like, "That's bullshit that you just did that." I'm like, "Yeah." They're like, "What do you think we should do, though?" I'm like, "Keep it in the game. It's fucking great. It's depth. Maybe you didn't mean to do it, but this is depth." If anyone speedruns this game, or if anyone's really exploring this game, they can find this, and this is an accomplishment that the player found, right? This isn't something that anybody who's not intending to do it is going to find. But a player who finds this is going to feel like they just discovered something very special for themselves. And this is a trick that high-level players can utilize. Like, you gotta have the stuff in a game, whether you mean to do it or not. It's great to keep that kind of stuff in. For sure. Is there a similar way to approach upgrades in the game? Yeah, well, I'm not sure if this is going to answer your question, Matos. The way that I kind of deal with the situation is, I mean, it's what I said before. Actually, I used to. I hope Kyle doesn't mind me calling him out here or anything like this. Maybe he's watching, but we talked about this a while ago. Kyle, who's actually really getting really good at the level design for Mike Dies now. When he first started, like, and it's an issue I had when I first started too, is, he'd place a lot of platforms in a level, right? And it was like, I'd go through and I'd ask him, "Why is this platform here? Why is this platform here?" And he's like, "Do I really need an answer for this platform?" And I'm like, "Yes, every single platform you see in that level, every single wall, every single inch of space, you need to be able to tell me why that's there." You look at any of my levels, if anybody, and Joe, you can challenge me on this at some point if you want, anybody can do this. You ask me about a wall, why there's this amount of space, why there's this amount of timing, I can tell you for every single platform, for every inch of space, I can tell you why this exists. And when dealing with something like upgrades and anything like this, or this philosophy, this mentality, and I mean, now Kyle can do that too, it's great, but this mentality, anything you introduce to a game, to a player, to player space, you need to be able to know why exactly this is there, right? And if you ever introduce a tool, like an upgrade or a power or enhancement, and you can't say exactly why this is there, then you need to ask yourself, why do I have this there? What is this contributing to the game? So if you're thinking about, well, this is here for this reason, and you're making sure the player utilizes these actions, then you're doing it. You're doing great. Like, one thing I've seen a lot of Metroidvanias is, like, I just played a game called Axiom Verge recently, which is really good, but you get all these great powers and stuff like that, but then you get to, like, these boss encounters, and you're not really, these tools that you have, these things that you're acquiring, these powers you're building, they're not really explored, right? So, they're not really accomplishing that goal. But if you're making sure that players utilize all the tools you're introducing, then you're doing great. Oh yeah. That's the other great thing. So yeah, that's exactly true. If you're going to introduce a mechanic, really introduce it, spend time with it, repeat it ad nauseum. Don't say to the repeat it subtly through different variations of level design, but make sure that by the time you're ready to move on to the next mechanic, whatever you were just introducing and teaching the player, make sure that they essentially make sure that it's part of their vocabulary, I think, is the best way to put that. Diet Mr. Pibb. I was about to say like deterbium or something like that. I think eterbium's an element on the periodic table, but yeah, actually, Diet Mr. Pibb. That's a really interesting, or that's a good thought. Although, not to add a contrary point, but that actually something that is kind of interesting, and I've never thought about doing this intentionally, is one thing, like in Mario, for example, if you get a higher score in the level, it's going to take longer, or a better time, it's going to take longer for the amount of points to count down. One thing that could be interesting, though, if you are trying to get it from a speedrunning perspective, one thing to make sure that people can speedrun it is it could also be interesting to have the dynamic still present, though, where it's like if players get through the level maintaining a very, very low amount of points, then the results screen goes by faster. So that could be another interesting dynamic to work into your speedrunning. I'm not saying to do it one way or another, but that is one more thing you could consider. That's a really interesting thought, though. And Strawnick, sorry man, I don't play Clash of Clans. So, I don't really play a lot of mobile games, to be honest. Let me rephrase that. I play a lot of mobile games, but there's not really many that I've really been able to get into, unfortunately. There's a lot of really great paid mobile games, but I don't play a whole lot of free mobile games, even though I make a whole lot of free mobile games. So it's kind of a strange situation, I guess. But actually, you know what? One thing that I've always found really interesting, getting back to Diet Mr. Pibb's point, one thing that I've always found really interesting is so you watch a game like, I think this is just always a really interesting point in general. It's just something as a designer for you to ask yourself is, when your game is played at its highest possible level, like the highest possible skill level, how does it look, right? Does it look visually interesting? Is your player at the highest possible skill level when they're fighting an enemy? Is it a great, dynamic, crazy battle like something out of an action movie? Or is it the player getting the enemy stuck in a wall and firing arrows at it for 20 hours? Like, I can't stop thinking about Dark Souls and Bloodborne right now. That's why I came up with that example. But anyway, no, I should say at the highest possible level, is it a player like really interacting well with the game, or is it a player using the same combo and the same broken ass weapon over and over again, or doing the same, like, actually, you know what is it? Super Mario 3, I think, is an example, and there's some counterpoints to what I'm about to say as well, but the fastest speedrunners in Mario Brothers 3 are the ones who grab the raccoon suit immediately and fly to the top of the stage and skip all the content, right? Whether or not that's glitchy or not, I think one thing that is kind of interesting to do is, if you do want to think about that high level, is make sure you have a vision for what you want the highest possible efficiency level of gameplay to be, and make sure that you achieve that through your gameplay, right? And I think one thing you could do is, through the I'm sorry, I'm really tired right now. One thing you could do potentially too, like I'm thinking about like Mega Man, for example, where a high level Mega Man 2 speedrun looks great because players are switching weapons constantly. They're making these crazy jumps. They're doing these crazy things. But then you watch some other games in the series, and it's like they're smacking into enemies to take damage to get through them faster and stuff like that. It's like, this doesn't look great. So like, you're watching somebody play this, and it's like, this looks like shit, right? So I think if you potentially design with some of those constraints in mind, what you want your game to look like at its highest level play, I mean, that's another potential pillar you could have going into your development to help you discover for yourself what you want that depth to be, even if it's initially hidden depth to the player. Hopefully that made a lick of sense. I'm super out of it right now. Yeah, Automatus, I agree. Like, you never want to get into... One thing I always try to avoid in everything that I personally work on is, having a quote-unquote pattern boss fight. Hopefully I'm getting your point here. I hope I'm not missing it here, but is you never want to let the player... every single time the player has an encounter, right, with an enemy, with a group of enemies, with a boss especially, is you want to make sure there's an element of unpredictability to it. This is especially prevalent in games that require repeat content, right? Like, let's just take Dark Souls, for example, right? Certainly the enemies are in similar placements every time, but your interactions with these enemies, especially the boss enemies, it's going to be different. They're going to behave differently. They're going to react to you differently depending on what's going on in the battle. Like, even if the physical placement is there, there's enough procedural elements within their AI that makes every individual instance of this encounter engaging. So yeah, that's incredibly super important. Yeah, Die Mr. Pibb and Automos potentially with this next thing, like, yeah, I think, like, personally speaking, like, I think high level play, like, one thing I noticed, and this isn't really fair of me to say this, because first of all, the Mega Man series is a bit older, obviously, and the second thing is I'm not necessarily... I mean, they made their design choices for very specific reasons as far as enemy hit points are concerned, but I do agree that a high-level player should have had the tools where, instead of taking damage to walk through an enemy, they had the tools to overpower an enemy with something that they already had. So maybe this enemy, let's just say, takes 10 hits with a Mega Buster, but with certain weapons, that it's 5 hits, and with the right weapon, it's 1 or 2 hits, right? Then a high-level player, instead of taking damage and walking through the enemy, the optimal strategy, switch to this enemy, or switch to this weapon, hit the enemy to destroy it, right? It's, from a time perspective, like, once again, this isn't fair, because this isn't exactly... The game wasn't developed for... I mean, very few games, as stated, are developed for speedrunning in mind, but it's just an interesting thing to think about, right? But the optimal strategy here could be switch to this weapon, overpower this enemy with a single attack, then switch to this weapon, overpower the next enemy, right? I mean, once again, like, it's more of a modern design thing, but it's just always an interesting thing to think about, like, what is this game going to look like at the maximum high-level play? Probably going around in circles now. Split. Yeah, well, one thing, Automotus, that I can speak to here, and maybe, once again, I'm not completely sure that this is exactly the point you're making, but when it comes to randomization, even if your game has procedural elements and elements of randomization, is actually another philosophy that I like to follow. It's something I'm really trying with Mike Dice, with the level design of it, is so games that are like, let's just say I want to be the guy, or yeah, let's just talk about that one for a sec. Games like that one, their philosophy is let's murder the player in hilarious, unfair ways. But what I want to do with Mike Dies is I don't want there are some hilarious deaths of the game that are a little bit unfair, but at the same time, I don't want anything in the game to be truly unfair. The philosophy is dance with the player. That's what my philosophy is. You telegraph an attack to the player. You telegraph something coming to the player. In most cases, very direct, like you give them enough information that they can make an educated reaction, right? And then once they see the tell, they can make an action to protect themselves, right? So you're dancing with the player. You make a move, the player reacts to it, and the longer you continue to dance with the player, to wear this metaphor completely thin, the longer that you continue to dance with the player, the more they understand the way you move, the way you work, and the more complicated you can make the dance moves. But they understand that language, the language of the dance. This analogy is just falling apart here, but yeah, that's the goal. Is you work with the player to make them succeed, even if they're not aware of it. So in a game that has like a lot of things that are unpredictable, like look at Contra, for example. Some of the better entries in the series, when an enemy is about to do an attack, the enemy has a tell. Like they'll pull their arm back. When you see their arm go back, there's a lot of things you can tell from that tell. You can check out the angle of their arm. You can check out how slow it goes back. For the timing, the angle of their arm usually tells you the position. And it is possible it might get you the first time, but you learn very quickly just from that tell exactly what it means. And when you see that tell, you understand through a bit of forced repetition to understand, to build a language. You understand you understand what the tell is, and then even though this enemy is going to change that attack slightly each time, because you appreciate the language of the game, you know how to avoid it now, and now you're dancing with the game. And I Want to Be the Guy is really not a good example of design. It's a hilarious game, but I Want to Be the Guy is just it is kind of shit. I mean, it's a guilty pleasure. It really is. It's like, it's a bag of potato chips to, a fancy French restaurant. I mean, it's honestly like the ingredients are a little bit, they're not all there, but it's enjoyable, sometimes in a guilty way. And like potato chips, it's greasy and kind of addicting.
Wow.
Yeah, that was the best I could do with that analogy. I just went with something.
Yep.
Yeah, automatically. I mean, that's definitely an issue. I mean, I think to keep the dopamine high, if you gotta, I think you mentioned earlier, you gotta strike a balance there, right? I mean, to make sure that the challenge level is always, good. You want to make sure to keep the dopamine high. You want to make sure the player is succeeding on a regular basis, and that comes into the difficulty curve, the difficulty ramp, to make sure that the player feels that they are making comfortable progress. So even if there is a little bit of death from, or even if there's a little bit of learning from failure, at the same time there needs to be the right amount of success to make sure that the player is walking away with a positive experience, to make sure that they feel that they're doing something that they're making progress in, is succeeding. I mean, one thing that I I love the Soul series. I mean, I'm sure everyone's probably grasped that by this point. I'm a huge fan of Dark Souls and Bloodborne and all those games, but one thing that I really have an issue with sometimes is, and actually this is extremely prevalent in Bloodborne, which I still love, but it doesn't always strike that right balance where I feel like I'm succeeding while I fail. Like, I don't feel I'm always having, especially early on, I don't always feel like I'm having enough success that that dopamine rush is still always present early on. It does balance itself out at times, but because I'm not having enough successes with my failures, it becomes a bit more frustrating than fun sometimes. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I want to be the guy. It's a funny game. It plays off player expectations. In fact, you can't truly enjoy I want to be the guy unless you already have a very high level of knowledge about, the particular genres. It's really a parody, honestly, of game design. That sounds a little harsh when I say it like that, but it really is like it's basically a what not to do on game design, level design specifically in platformers. But that being said, it knows what it is, and it's intentionally that, and it invokes a really humorous reaction for hardcore people who play it. But I mean, I suppose if you went in there with no prior prerequisite for the genre, like if my mom, who doesn't play many platformers, obviously, like, well, I guess that's not obvious. Nobody here knows my mom except Joe. Oh, so he claims. But anyway,
really well.
Yeah. But anyway, I was just gonna say, like, if you went into that game without any prerequisite knowledge of the genre, it would just be like, what the fuck is this? This sucks. So. Yeah. Oh, I love I love the Soul series. I mean, that's a whole. Soul series is actually a whole load of just a whole can of worms. Like, I could talk about the series all day. I actually I shouldn't be plugging this. I actually just did a very, very minor interview for, I guess I can say this, but for a large. Okay, fuck it. Yeah, I did a very minor gaming interview for Kotaku. Just recently, Sunday actually, about the Soul series. So I guess keep an eye out on Kotaku for at least a few quotes from me. Yay, Souls games! But anyway, it's I fucking love those games to death. They got their problems, make no mistake, but yeah, I actually love being able to wander into a really, really difficult area. To speak to your point, Diet Mr. Pibb, I love being able to wander into a really, really tough area and just finding something that I just can't kill. And the reason for that is, I know that sounds a little masochistic of me, but actually the reason for that, is that it shows the player a challenge to overcome. It shows me, when I see this happen, I say, oh God, I can't overcome that, but man, it's going to feel so good when I do. It shows me what it's doing. It's drawing in a progression hook. It's showing me as a player that this is something that I can overcome in the future. A lot of MMOs actually do this, where they'll show you very, very early on, and RPGs do this all the time. They show you really early on an enemy, just a monster that's so hard to kill. Or like maybe you can't kill it, but you see somebody else kill it. Monster Hunter 4 does this, in fact. When you open up the game, you fight this giant sandworm. You're like, wow, look at this crazy shit. I can't wait till I get to the level. Like, I can't take this on right now. But what it says to the player is, someday I'm going to be strong enough to take that on. And it's a really, really, really valuable tool. Oh, God, what's the game? Xenoblade Chronicles does this really well. There's enemies that wander all over the place, and there's these giant-ass enemies. Like, you're level 12. There's level 70s. It's like level 70 monsters running around. You get into fight one of these, it's going to just maul you. But someday you're going to be able to kill that thing, and that's why you keep playing. because you want to overcome that challenge. Yeah, definitely. The regular progression model. What do you mean? Maybe I'm just a bit confused. It's pretty late. It's really late, isn't it? I don't want to look at the clock. I just don't give a shit. Hopefully my roommates don't give a shit either. I think I'm probably keeping them up. Oh. Well, the difficulty progression is still present, like at a high level. I mean, it's still there. I mean, ideally, Dark Souls, Bloodborne is hard to say because I found that game was very front-loaded. But yeah, I mean, I suppose it definitely is. It definitely is a twist where they do have these things that you can't kill. But I mean, I guess if you think of it at a high level, like as far as difficulty progression, the progression's still there because these things that you can't kill yet, it's just kind of an organic wall, right? If you can't kill it, then it's still off to the side of the difficulty progression. It's more of like mechanic, like gameplay foreshadowing, so to speak. I mean, it's an old trick that RPGs have always used. I mean, I can even think of the first Dragon Warrior games on NES when you could walk into a field like 2 towns over, and suddenly you went from fighting these little slimes, to a giant ass rock golem that just crushes your party in one hit. It's still technically the critical path still has that desired difficulty curve, and if the player wants to go off the critical path, then this is an additional challenge for them, right? And what's interesting about the Souls games is that unlike, let's say, Dragon Warriors or Dragon Warrior for NES, or a more recent example, Xenoblade Chronicles, which I still liked, in the Souls games, if you go off the critical path, off this, this targeted progression that they actually have lined up, which admittedly is a bit more obscure in these titles, you can still actually kill that stuff. But that at that point is player skill, which completely comes into account there. Like I guess you could say, sequence break in some ways. Like if the difficulty curve is laid out as such, right? Basically, the Souls games let you wander off the difficulty curve if you are good enough to do so. It's like it's like a different type of sequence breaking than, say, Metroid, where you're using an item in an odd place. This is, I'm using skills that I shouldn't have until way later in the game to overcome an obstacle earlier that a new player would not be able to do. So it's skill-based sequence breaking as opposed to upgrade mechanic-based sequence breaking, or mechanic-driven sequence breaking. Yeah, actually, there's a really interesting talk on this. I forget whose channel it is, but there's a YouTube channel that just started. Somebody from Touch Arcade just started talking about this very thing. There's a game called Toki Tori 2, which I've played briefly, but not in great detail, where it's a Metroidvania, but there's not actually any. You don't gain any new powers. The powers that you have stay consistent through the entire title. But what you learn is you're always exploiting your environment to make progress, and the critical path has a very, very steady ramp of progression. But what happens is, as you go through the game, you start learning through the level design. The level design teaches you how to use these different parts of your environment in different ways. And once you know this, it's just pure knowledge you have. You go back to earlier levels, you're like, wait a second. This part of the environment's present here. I bet this will work on this. And then you use things that you learned later on and you apply that knowledge to earlier levels to open up new routes. It's fascinating. If you're really interested in seeing a really interesting way of doing a Metroidvania, and of adding hidden complexity and depth, and ways for advanced players to overcome challenges that beginner players may not be able to, while still maintaining that critical, that core difficulty curve. Definitely check out Toki Tori 2. It's fast. It's really interesting. Yeah, it's it's an interesting challenge. Like one thing we did for Dark Scavenger, our last game, to give advanced players more difficulty, wasn't exactly through the it wasn't exactly through the game itself. I mean, if an advanced player wanted to make the game more difficult for themselves, there were plenty of ways to do it. There were, they could they could rush through the critical path without doing the side content, which would leave them less powerful than somebody who'd been clearing all the content. They could fight every enemy. Like, there were definitely ways that players could make it more challenging for themselves if they wanted to. But a really advanced player, there was hidden depth in the narrative interactions, because every single interaction in this game either leads to a combat scenario or it leads to nothing happening and you getting an item, right? But there's a secret way in Dark Scavenger that you can get through the entire game without fighting a single battle. And a new player's never going to figure that out, but a really advanced player is going to understand the game and they'll be able to achieve that. So that's kind of a different way, I guess you could say, that we were able to implement a path for an advanced player while still making sure that we didn't stray too far from our intended difficulty ramp. Yeah, exactly. There's actually Automatus, your last point, actually something that we're going to be doing in Mike Dies coming up is, I think it's really important to tease, to really show the player something that they will get, something that they'll obtain at some point that they haven't yet, something that they don't really have access to yet. One thing that we are going to do is there's a section in Mike Dies that it's in outer space, right? Because the game takes place on a space station. If you walk outside early on in this game, there's no oxygen, so your head explodes, as it would in Mike Dies. However, so we're teasing an area of the game. The players are like, I can see that there's level design here, but I can't get here yet. What's the deal with this? Not too much further into the game, we show them something. It's a pedestal with a helmet on it. And as soon as the players see that, they're going to say, holy shit, I know exactly what that's for. This is for that weird-ass room I found earlier. And players, they can't get to the space helmet yet. They see they've got to hit these buttons to unlock walls so that they can get to the space helmet. Or, sorry, to unlock doors so that they can get to the space helmet. And so it's going to be driving the players nuts the entire game because they want to see what's past this area with the airlock. They want to go into this area that's dangerous, something where they're not meant to explore. They want to see, they want to solve this mystery, right? So that's how we're introducing a narrative hook, I guess you could say. That's our progression hook. We are showing the players something that they can't yet obtain, but giving them hints that they will be able to ultimately overcome this. It's narrative hooks and gameplay hooks. I really don't think there's anything much more important than that in a game. I mean, that's kind of a broad statement. There's a lot of important things in a game. But that being said, like, to compel players to see your title to the end, having a good hook narratively and mechanically, to show the player that there's something that they're working towards it's incredibly important. No worries. Yeah, no, game design it's complicated. Yeah, actually, you know what, Automatos, sorry, just one question earlier, as far as being applied to casual games, it absolutely can. Actually, that's one problem we had to solve recently at work. So without going to crazy detail about what this title is, because that'd be breaking the NDA, of course, but we were working on a casual game, which I guess you could say is a like, I'm not sure if you're familiar with it, but like a cookie clicker, candy box kind of really simple clicker heroes, kind of really simple progression based game where it's just the game or progress quest kind of deal. Like the game is just, it's strictly progression, right? But at the same time, like, Yeah, the game is it's strictly progression. So how do you make a game like that interesting, right? Like, why is a game like that interesting? And the reason for it is because they have a hook in place. There's something that players are visibly, actively working towards that makes them compelled to perform this simple action over and over. In this case, is clicking or upgrading shit, but there's something they're working towards. There's a mystery that they're trying to solve, even if they're only subconsciously aware of it. And it's that hook that keeps them compelled to continue breaching this content to see what happens at the end. There's actually a game, before I relate back to the example I just had, there's a game, I forget what game it is, but it's a very similar type of game. It's an RPG. And there's this egg. And as you make progress in the game, it starts to hatch. The egg has a question mark in. It doesn't seem to be directly tied to any mechanic you currently have. You got to be wondering, what's in this egg? That's what you're wondering. That's the mystery. What is in this egg? And this is a real casual game, right? And so players, at least what I witnessed around the office, because there were a lot of people playing this, people played until they hatched that egg. Everyone was let down when they found it. It was just some fucking wallpaper. But at the same time, that was
Peter Molyneux game or something.
Yeah, it might as well have been. But I'm just saying it was the element of the unknown. It's that mechanical hook. It kept everyone playing. And when you're developing a casual game, you can still keep that high-level methodology in mind. It's essentially you introduce a mystery, you introduce something, in Bloodborne, it's that enemy in the corner that you can't kill yet. In MMO, it's that level 90 enemy. Or in a casual game, maybe it's that mysterious egg. In the example that I meant to get to originally on my own title that I was working on, it's a world map, right? And you have a sequence of levels, kind of Candy Crush style. You have a sequence of levels, and they all look, they're all pretty much the same. They're all these colorful circles. But then there's this one level on the world map, and it's not a circle. It's a square. And it's not surrounded by Jolly Ranchers and candy canes. It has a I don't know. I can't use the exact example, so I'm kind of alluding to it. It has a instead of Jolly Ranchers and candy canes, it's a big slab of meat. There we go. It's something different. It's something unexpected. It's something that doesn't gel with the rest of the language, and players want to know, what the fuck is this? And players will continue to see what this is. In a game I played called Two Dots recently, which I didn't really care for, but they had a very similar thing. It's all these circles that look really the same. It's like Candy Crush style progression through all these levels. All these circles that look really similar. But then there's this one level, and it's a giant squid. And I kept playing to see what happened when I got to the giant squid. I didn't like this game, but I couldn't stop playing because I wanted to see what happened when I reached the giant squid. Spoilers, nothing happened. It was a huge letdown. But what I'm trying to say is that's a hook, right? So you can apply that absolutely anywhere. Yeah, J.J. Abrams was in the box hook. That's exactly it. For sure. All right. I need to go to bed. This is ridiculous. I'm up so late right now. This is really bad. Anyway, Automatus and yeah, that's exactly it. You need to make high levels from this. If you're developing a project, you got to make sure it's interesting to yourself, even if it's a game that you don't want to work for. Like, for example, I didn't want to make that fucking clicker game. I'm not really interested in that type of game, but I found a way to make it interesting for myself, whether it be thematically, whether it be just some small little quirk in the mechanics that was experimental enough that I wanted to engage it in. Like, it interested me on a design, like a scholarly level. That's a weird way to put it, but you got to make it interesting to yourself. You got to engage yourself with it. And the second thing is get that hook in there. make sure that even if it's a genre that maybe most people aren't going to love playing, or that was a bad way to put that, even if it's a genre that you wouldn't think would normally have that type of hook, like, find a way to get that little hint of mystery in there to keep players going, to keep players wondering, what is that thing in the distance? If a game is predictable, nobody's going to play the game. I can't even, I mean, people are going to lose interest. I can't even keep track of the number of games and movies I've been like, I've been watching movies where I'm like, I know everything that's going to happen. I just turn it off. Or I'll be playing a game and I'll say, I know everything that's going to happen. So I just turn it off. If there's that element of mystery, I'll keep going. And I think it's the most important thing you can do. And actually, Automatus, that's a great point about I want to be the guy. That's exactly it. I want to see the next crazy, ridiculous way they're going to kill me every single time. And that's what I actually want to achieve from Mike Dias too. Not that specifically, but in every level, I want to make this game so unpredictable in terms of structure that I want players to keep going, because they're just not going to know what sort of crazy shit we're going to throw at them next. Maybe this level uses just...
All right, Alex, if you're watching, I have a new way to deal with moving platforms.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
oh my
can see
god.
in action right now.
And then maybe the next level this happens. I almost feel like we need to do this somewhere, because that's just really bizarre. Can you do me a favor? I know that isn't final, but can you do me a favor and just save that functionality somewhere? I want to play with that. Just for like some level.
It's not even anything that I did. All you have to do is in a bullet. So if you have a bullet prefab, you just add a rigid body component to it and make sure it doesn't use gravity, but is also not kinematic. That's all you have to do.
Okay, because we're gonna have that big asteroid chase level near the end. There could be some really fun stuff we can do there with that. It might be fun to like shove your way through a bunch of floating space debris while getting chased by some shit. Anyway, just random ideas we can keep in mind for later. That's really cool though. It's a cool effect. It's really silly. Even if that's not the final functionality for what we're trying to solve, I think we could have stumbled onto something really interesting right there.
Oh man, yeah, I'm trying to. So I found out that the whole thing where it's like pushing you up, it's because it has this rigid body component on it, and it's kinematic. So those two things, basically, the character controller is kinematic in the sense that it's not supposed to act like a normal rigid body, but at the same time, if the bullet has a rigid body that is kinematic, you have an object that is kinematic hitting another object that is kinematic, and so neither of them technically are supposed to be able to move. So it fucks everything up.
Great.
Yep.
Gotcha. Alright, I really gotta go to bed.
Yeah, it's even 11:30 here, so I don't even want to think about.
I don't want to think about what time it is
what
here.
it is here. Don't even do the math.
I'm not gonna do the math, but anyway,
yeah.
Great discussion. I'm happy to. Yeah, I'm happy to. I love sharing things. Just as I think Automatus, I think you mentioned earlier, and it's a great point. All design is experience, and from my perspective, it's just making so many mistakes that you start to not make the same mistakes over and over again, and you make less and less. Design is about just making less and less mistakes until you stop making as many mistakes. So anyway, that's the way I see it. Maybe not the most positive outlook, but at the same time, you just learn so much by fucking up over and over again. I think actually a really good friend of mine told me, he actually works for PopCap. He used to work for Harmonix with us, and he said that
Poor guy.
Yeah, God. No, he told me a while back, like when I first started, he said that he said, "Don't worry, your first few games are going to be shit. They're going to be terrible." And I'm like, "No, my games are going to be good." He's like, "No, they're not. Shut up. They're going to be awful." And
Did he say shut up?
I'm
Shut your fucking mouth. They're gonna be terrible. You're gonna suck.
no, I'm paraphrasing, but yeah, he said they're going to be terrible, and sure enough, my first few games were just they weren't great. But you just keep making games, man, and you just get better and better and better at it. I mean, you look at a success story like Ed McMillan and some of the other really big name indie game developers like Ed McMillan is a great example. He went through dozens and dozens of games before he made Super Meat Boy and made it big. Like, that shit doesn't come overnight. Like, I mean, somebody told me a while ago, actually, like, if you ever look at somebody else, right, and you look at their success, if you ever get envious of their success, like, the one thing you gotta appreciate is, like, it's just general wisdom here is, like, you don't know the backstory of their success, right? Like, how much shit they had to go through before they got to that. So, yeah, so, all you can do, the thing you got to do, it's not talent, it's just persistence and it's discipline, and you just fucking keep going. That's really it. And you just get better that way, and that's how you do it. And eventually, you'll succeed. And that's it. You just got to keep making stuff and not be afraid of failure. That's really it. So yeah. Oh, Rags Wolf, I'm the mysterious floating voice.
Yeah. I can turn on Skype and you can see his picture.
Oh no, this is the long-haired, ridiculous one.
Yeah. It's the thinking man one.
The thinking man one. So, oh god, it's so bad. It's so bad. It's my yeah, Automatus, the pure luck thing. It's both a blessing and a curse, because it's like, oh shit, something worked, and then somebody asks you to reproduce, you're like, nope. Not gonna do that. Yeah, actually, it's really difficult when you get into these design meetings, and it's like something works, and somebody's like, well, why does it work? Like, please explain this to me. And you're like, I can't do that. It was an accident. That happens. Actually, you know what was really interesting? Yeah, exactly, Rex Wolf. Yeah, so one thing interesting, actually, so I wasn't at this talk, but at the Crossy, I'm sure everyone, or most people are familiar with the game Crossy Road for iOS. One thing the developers were saying there is, like, everyone was like, oh yeah, give us some insight as to why Crossy Road was a success. And their answer was, I don't know. So yeah, we just made it, and it was a hit. Look at that. We have no idea why it was a success. So yeah, I think that there actually are takeaways from it. I mean, there's a game that I've been evaluating for a very long time, which is really silly, but I've been considering writing an article about this for a long time. But Flappy Bird was a huge success. Actually, what's really funny is the Frogger game. What's really funny about Flappy Bird is, okay, so I was working on a game at the company I work for. It's called NBA Rush. It's Space Jam. It's basically a Space Jam Infinite runner, I'm not going to lie. But anyway, so we spent months and months working on this game, and then Flappy Bird came out. It was made in a week and saw more success than we ever did. It was just like, what are we doing here? Anyway, but Flappy Bird, a lot of people are like, oh yeah, it's just blind luck. It's a shit game. But in reality, and I would be surprised if the developer himself could tell you the reason for its success. But if you really break it down, it does a lot of really interesting things that are actually, it's not it's really contrary to a lot of modern design philosophies, but it hits on some really, because the developer, like, I don't think he has a really solid design background, but I mean, that being said, it actually worked in his benefit because he was able to approach problems in a, excuse me, in a way that maybe a traditional designer wouldn't have. One thing that is really a big issue in that type of game is that's really an issue in that type of game is there's this difficulty curve, right? For example, or sorry, actually it's the progression ramp actually that we were talking about earlier that actually hinders it, because in a game like a runner, like an infinite runner, like Subway Surfers, or like any traditional game like that, there's this really slow wind-up time that you need to go through before you get to like the ultimate payoff, the really interesting stuff where the difficulty gets high. And what happens is expert players who actually become good at the game, they become bored by this initial ramp up. But what's really interesting about Flappy Bird, for example, is they skip the ramp up. Immediately you are at the hardest part of the game. Instantly you are the hardest, most engaging portion of the game at its maximum difficulty. And that's what keeps it engaging, because there's no ramp up, there's no build up. It's bam, motherfucker, do or die. Sink or swim. Actually, it's actually Hotline Miami does the same thing in some ways, where it puts you into the game, and immediately, at least the first enemy just kills the shit out of you, and you're like, what the fuck is going on with this game? And you keep going back to it because it's actually that kind of that hook that we were talking about earlier, but on cocaine, like in terms of how quick that hook happens and how quick you need to surpass it. It's this thing that you get into it and it's overwhelming. It's just like, what the hell is going on? And you work at it. It's a mystery. Like, the basic game is a mystery, but you grasp it, and now it's a challenge that you have to overcome, but the challenge is already ramped up to its maximum level. So every single time you enter this game, you are at the highest difficulty, and it's engaging immediately. It's at its most engaging point. As soon as you get in, they took out the curve. It's fascinating. And the second thing, too, why it succeeds is because there's basically no transition. Or, excuse me, the transition between gameplay, between restarts, is very, very small. In a game like Subway Surfers or NBA Rush, the one I worked on, there's all these screens that you got to go through. You'll complete your session, then you got to wait for yourself to revive, then you got to go to the results screen, then you got to go to the main menu, then you got to go to the shop, and then you start a game. Those are all additional steps. With Flappy Bird, you die and you hit start, you're back in it. It's addicting. It's something that you keep going back to. The game I'm working on at work right now, which is just something I'm prototyping my own time, is I'm copying that mentality. You die, you go back. You die, you go back. And that's actually something we're using in Mike Dies too. When you die, you just hit a button. You're immediately back. Super Meat Boy does this too. It's why when you die, you immediately have to go in and do it again. That's what Flappy Bird did. It capitalized on this incredible, player efficiency without potentially even truly being aware of what it was doing. And the final thing that Flappy Bird does that's really well, I don't know how I got into this tangent about Flappy Bird when I should go to bed, is the final thing that Flappy Bird does really well, and this is something I've been analyzing for a while, is every action you take in that game, the action, of course, is very simple. It's just simply a tap on the screen. Every action you take, which your goal with each action is to get your character within a small space. You have a very small target goal. Every action you take contributes to how you will execute the next action. So the game, it's very dynamic in that sense. So if I press the button at this time, it's going to affect when I have to press the button the next time, right? The game I'm working on right now, I know that's kind of an odd philosophy to potentially wrap your head around right now, and maybe even for me to explain right now at this hour, but the philosophy that I'm trying to take forward from this is, when I perform this action, how does this affect the next action and maybe the action after that, right? And through this, you're creating interesting choices, and you're not just creating a choice for the player to execute immediately. You're actually creating choices that create choices down the road, which makes the player really feel like they are, it gives the player kind of a, I hate to use this word, like a sense of agency with the game world. It makes the player feel that they are really driving the gameplay. That's kind of a weird overall concept to be discussing. But anyway, I think Flappy Bird ultimately, without really being aware, is kind of genius in a lot of the things that it does. And a lot of people say, oh, we'll never be able to replicate the success of Flappy Bird, but I think there's still a lot of good takeaways that could be gained from that game that could ultimately, contribute to another potential success in the future. So,
to clear up, Alex is talking, not me, for when there's when there's a little whisper. It's because it's Alex and not me. That's the guy over here, who is over in that direction.
Oh, sorry. I'd screen share, but I'm wearing my Sonic the Hedgehog pajamas right now, and it's, nobody wants to see my Sonic the Hedgehog pajamas, even if it's the best use of the IP in years. It's
Wow.
Shit. Look out. So.
Actually, I disagree. I
Okay.
believe that Sonic Ball is the best.
The Sonic Ball is pretty good.
It's pretty much the best.
It's pretty good. Okay, I'm really gonna go to bed now. Anyway.
Okay, well, I just want you to understand what's
Yeah.
happening here.
Okay.
If you're watching the stream.
Yeah, for sure, Automatus.
This is really disturbing, but it started kind of working.
Yeah.
And I don't know why. And I'm trying to now uncomment out all the stuff that was commented out because it suddenly is working and I'm a little bit disturbed.
That's really weird. Mike doesn't seem to be enjoying that ride very well.
No, he's not having a great time with it.
No.
But yeah, I'm going through all this shit and I'm like, what changed? What the fuck changed that this is suddenly working? I don't like it. Oh god. I don't know if this is better or worse that this is working now and I don't know why.
I'm gonna have to get
it's really bad.
a venti frappuccino tomorrow to keep myself awake during work. Venti, man, pulling out all the stops. Well, that's
Vente, man.
Vente.
That's interesting.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome, man. That you got it. You got it going.
I don't know if it is.
Sort of.
I don't know if it's awesome. It might be. It might be really bad.
Well, we'll find out soon.
I can't tell. Can't tell because I don't know what happened. It's just started working, and I don't know why.
Our Mandiel Sensei, I'm gonna give you my perspective on the programmer's dilemma. This is this is all this is programming. What I'm about to say. 5 hours of what the fuck, and 10 seconds of oh. That's programming. Did I get it right, Joe?
Yeah, except for when it's 10 minutes of what the fuck, followed by a maybe, and then a nope, and then a oh god, what is happening? And then and then another okay, I don't know why, but okay, I guess. So sometimes it's I hate that this works right now. I really do. I fucking hate it.
Did I ever give you my impression? Not really that relevant. Did I ever give you my impression of my buddy who reads comic books, of how he reads comic books? He'd get the comic books delivered to his desk at work all the time. And he'd be like, oh my god, it's here. He'd be talking about this comic book for weeks. It's like, it's here, it's here, it's here. And he picks it up, and then he puts it down like 5 seconds later. He's like, wow, that was great. So it's my impression of my friend who reads comic books. So.
Wow.
Anyway, I don't know why I felt like I had to tell that story. I thought it was funny, but maybe it's 3 a.m. funny. And that means it's funny to me. Nobody else who's not in my time zone.
This is awful, and I hate to end the night like this. So I don't know, like it's working, and I don't know. I guess that's fine. It does weird stuff with your jump though. Like it does really weird stuff. Let's see. Okay, so this works just fine. I can do this really sweet jumping across shit. But yeah, then when it like hinders your jump and your hover, it actually lowers you during your hover.
Well, what you're doing right now, that's an interesting idea for a level. Can you jump back on top of those pillars?
Jump, yeah, it's pretty cool.
Can you do that again?
Actually, really, it's neat.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
I do like that. I mean, you kind of do that type of stuff. Shit.
I do. I don't think I do it with pillars though. It just kind of looks cool.
Oh, that was interesting. If I went up against this wall, and then it started dragging me.
I've seen that.
Yeah, it's not supposed to happen though.
No, it's not supposed to. Maybe poor spaceman Mike got his arm stuck on the wall and it dragged him a bit. That happened to me once.
Why is this working?
You ever get your sleeve stuck in a car door and then the person driving the car takes off and you're dragged down the street a little bit before they realize what's going on?
What?
It's kind of like that. Anyway, I'm gonna go to bed.
What?
I'm gonna go to bed.
What? No, explain that. It's dragging something out of the car.
No. It's like you close like the car door, but your like sleeve's still stuck in it, and the person starts driving away, and then you just realize that because you start getting dragged on with the car, and you're like, oh fuck! And you start banging on the window. They're like, oh shit! And they stop the car, and then it's like a really awkward thing. You're like, wow, I almost just died. Not that ever happened to me more than once. Anyway.
Well, we're not using velocity, but we don't just you can't just set a position. That doesn't work. The way that the character works is there's a move function that I'll show you right here. If I go .move, there's this move function. Wait a second, please don't. Oh God, is that why it started working? Okay, no. Okay. So this move function is what we're using for the character itself, and the bullet.
Right back.
I don't know what the bullet is using. Yeah, it's using translate. So we're not just setting positions. There's 99% against just slip this frame and turn around to go left. Yeah, and we talked about ways to kind of fake that because we have an actual 3D object, and so we were talking about ways to kind of make him like kind of 3/4 face the camera regardless of which direction he was walking, but I think it looks cool to actually have him kind of face away a little bit, if he's walking in a certain direction. Yeah, I think it does look a lot more interesting to have him kind of, and you can see his back a little bit, which is like something that you kind of don't realize doesn't happen in games ever, like where you can just go, okay, well then this is back. And of course, if he's facing this way when he's walking one direction, then he faces that way when he's walking the other direction. This is going to disappear on me. There it goes. So yeah, and it's also because he has a light on his belt, and so when he's facing the other direction, you can actually, and like we'll be tweaking it of course, but you can actually see it like kind of shine on the back wall more directly because his belt is kind of facing in that direction. It's pretty neat.
Sick.
Yeah, that automotive. That's exactly why. That's why this has only been these two levels until recently when this new level happened, which Alex had to play for the first time the other day.
That was quite a thing.
Yeah.
I was dreading that for a long time.
Did it live up to your dread?
It did, Joe. I gotta warn you. The more crazy you make that level, the more challenge orbs I'm gonna make it take to unlock it.
That's fine. I don't care. I hope that 0.01% of the people who play this game play that level. I'm more than happy for that to be the case.
It's actually brilliant if that happens, because that 0.01%, they're gonna talk.
Yeah, exactly. They're gonna be like, dude, did you see this one fucking crazy ass level?
Is that? I found this level in a hidden wall in a room that shouldn't exist, and it cost me 500 orbs to get in, and I had to pay $3 real money. No. No, but that's exactly it. We're creating talking points, right? We're creating. So we did with Max and Dark Scavenger. We had a super, super secret boss, super hard to get to, and if you find it, super hard to kill. And there's at least like 4 or 5 topics about mechs on our Steam message boards about that one character.
Yep.
That's how you do it.
So the back-facing thing, and I think it's interesting. They're talking about how when the character walks left, is actually like his back is to you, which is really interesting because most games don't do that. So if we did this, oh, that doesn't work. That's awesome. Yeah, see, there we go. So so we could actually scale him negatively to get that effect, because now when he goes this way, he's facing the wrong way. Let's see. So I can go like this, and now he's facing the wrong way. But so yeah, so we could actually do that flip as like a negative scale, but now he's all moonwalking. I know how much you like moonwalking, Alex.
I'm a huge moonwalking fan.
So now you can moonwalk all day. It's pretty sweet. So yeah, I mean I don't know what that would do to all of the portal stuff. It would probably fuck it up right good, but yeah, that would be you can, yeah, Metroid moonwalk.
What?
Talking about moonwalking in Metroid.
Hey, you ever really want to piss off a Nintendo fan? You just go up to that game, or you just go up to them and say,
you just walk right up to Metroid.
Just go up to that game. No. Well, no, that's exactly it. You're like, yeah, I didn't know Metroid was a girl. You say that and just make him so angry.
No, Metroid.
On so many levels, it's just the most infuriating thing you could say. Or you say, what was the other one? Yeah, I really like I just got Zelda's Master Sword. It's the other one you do. Just really piss him off. As a huge Nintendo fan myself, I know how to
What is the
Make
Master
my
Sword?
sword.
I don't get the Master Sword thing.
It's the Master Sword. It's the sword that the masters use. You find it in the forest.
You find it in the Force? Oh, Zelda's the one that you use the Force?
Yeah, Zelda is the he's the Triforce.
What was it? That was one of my favorite quotes ever from Parks and Rec. It's Ron Swanson. He was like, they were talking about some nerdy shit, and Ron goes, "Is Star Wars the one with the little wizard boy?" I was like, it's like, yep, that's me.
Oh my god, that's amazing. Yeah, it's a pretty obvious troll, but if people don't know you, man, like, shit works wonders at PAX. That's all I'm saying.
Or you should.
You want to make a real bad first impression.
You should be like, I didn't know that Zelda was a girl or something like that, or be like,
Who is
or
Dinky
that
King?
Zelda was a boy.
Yeah.
Like, I don't understand. I thought Zelda was a boy's name. Don't you play a boy?
Oh my god. Which PAX were you at? Were you at PAX East or PAX Prime? Ragwolf?
Alright. I'm actually doing a full-on compare of this. Move distance at y = 0.
I was at PAX Prime this year. Oh, East. Gotcha. Darn, I was not there. Yeah, actually, the Harry Potter series. I thought George Lucas did a pretty good job on those. Hey, Joe.
Oh, shit. I think I figured it out.
You got it?
I think I know why it started working. So
Oh, really?
if I do push X and push Y. Alright, so this will be the test. If I comment out push X. Yeah, if I comment out this, the push X and push Y, or if I make them false, that's even better. So if I make push X false, and then I try this again and it doesn't work, then I actually know what happened. That would be... No, it still works. Fuck my life.
Oh.
Oh well.
Yeah. New Mad Max movie looks awesome. Alright, you know how I said, like, I'm gonna go to bed 50 times now?
Yeah, I also should really...
I should really go to bed.
Yeah, that should really happen. Well, yeah, thanks everybody for hanging out and keeping Alex up late, because it's always the best when that happens.
Yeah, geez, thanks. Yeah, I'm gonna have to figure out a good excuse for my my colleagues tomorrow. Oh yeah, I was up late last night because
Well, I'm gonna upload the video for you overnight,
shit.
so that you can paste it and be like, here's why
I
I'm
don't
tired.
think that's the excuse I want to give them. Yeah, I was chased by a maniac wielding a chainsaw for 4 hours later, past my bedtime.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. So here's Automotos. I wonder if it's because there's a new website for development stuff called Live Coding, I believe. And I was emailed about that site, and they were like, hey, so you do game dev streaming, you want to go on this other website? And I'm just like, no, not so much, but I don't know. So yeah, I think that a lot of devs did move there because they really have good promotion for game developers and all that stuff. I'm not super keen on it because it's a totally separate thing. Oh, we got 10,000 views. Sweet.
Did I? Oh wow,
Yeah.
jeez.
Because it takes out all of the gamers, you know, rather than just, it's like only people who want to watch code, which like is not the only thing that we do even in our development streams, and I don't think we want to be defined specifically by that, and we want to have like gamers who otherwise don't just watch people code. We want them involved in all of this. So like I don't really want to go over to live coding, but it's, I don't know, like maybe we'll do both. Twitch is huge, but not for game development, and live coding seems to be doing a pretty good job promoting development and developers. And like I stopped by today, and that's the thing, is that there's only like, I've seen like a maximum of maybe 8 streams at any given time, but all of them had like hundreds of people watching it all the time, because there's not much there, but apparently a lot of people who want to see the content. So I don't know, it's really it's really tricky.
Yeah.
But,
I mean, I wonder, like, personally, like, I still think like Twitch, because in a lot of ways Twitch does seem to me like it's the next big thing, right? I'm just saying, like, I wonder if live coding is gonna outlast Twitch, or vice versa. I would think it'd be the latter. I'd think Twitch would have the lasting stay, and this code thing is a fad. But I don't really know what I'm talking about, so
well,
I could be completely wrong.
I agree. I just don't know what it means. Like even as a fad or whatever, but like if Twitch doesn't change anything to better promote developers rather than just, you know, more than just Let's Players and stuff like that, then I don't know. Like if live coding continues to be better promotion for developers, then I think more and more developers are already going to go there. And like that, when I first saw that website, I was like, nobody's going to do that, and it's going to be dumb. They're really just trying to take a niche of Twitch and make their own thing for it. But the thing is that they've actually done a really good job of doing that. So, so I don't know, like maybe time will tell, and then in a month or so, if people are still even using that site, then maybe that will be the determining factor. But
yeah, I just want to see if it's I mean, I think overall Twitch would make sense to have the lasting power, just given on how long it's been around. But I mean, that being said, like, yeah, I'd be curious to know where live coding, or what the site you listed, and like where it will be in a month, right? If this is just like an initial rush, and if people will move back, or like I'd be really curious to see how it's doing in like a short amount of time.
Yeah, it's interesting, and I don't know if they have rules. Well, I don't know if they have rules about like you have to code, you know, like because Twitch is actually really strict on that. They've shut streams down because they weren't doing game related content. And like no matter how big your stream is, if you're not playing games or talking about games or doing something that is related to the games, then they will shut you down. And so technically, if you were coding something that wasn't a game, you could be shut down from Twitch, and you probably would be. So yeah, and so I think that's also part of the reason why if somebody's like making a website or making some other application that's not a game, technically they would be breaking the terms of service by streaming that on Twitch. And so that's probably another reason that live coding is a thing.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, makes sense. All right. Remember those 51 times that I said I should probably go to bed?
Yeah, that pretty much happens every time.
This is always how this goes, man.
Every call, not even every stream. Every call. Every time we're in a call.
No.
Especially if it's late.
I don't know how it happens. Like, we just keep going. Can't stop. Can't hang up. You gotta do it, though.
Yep.
It's really late. Oh shit, it was 30 minutes ago, wasn't it? Oh god.
Yeah.
Right.
So yeah. Thanks everybody for hanging out. Follow if you have not already. Maybe we'll eventually solve the mystery of why this fucking thing works when it didn't before. We'll be able to test on other people's computers and see if it works there as well. Because what the fuck? But yeah, it'll be fun times. So I guess we're gonna let Alex sleep.
Thanks,
now,
man.
finally.
Appreciate
He's
that.
got like 3 hours until he has to be at work. So.
Oh God, why would you say that? It's true though. It's like GDC all over again. I came back from fucking San Francisco. I got back home at 5 in the morning, and I was at work 3 hours later.
Ugh.
Jet lagged all week. I'm gonna be jet lagged because of this goddamn stream. That doesn't make sense, and it's gonna happen.
Because you're time traveling now. Because it's only 12:06 here.
Yeah.
So you're going from Pacific time to your crazy Canadian time.
Canadian time, I believe is the term. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. So yeah. Peace, everybody. Follow, and you will also get a mic head explosion next time when we run the bot. When I tweak a few things on that once again, and. So yeah, thanks for hanging out. Thanks for the awesome discussions. This was like the most in-depth discussion we've ever had on Twitch.
Yeah, this was good.
Pretty great.
You guys just need to catch me at 3 in the morning when I'm too tired to censor anything or filter anything. That's the way to do it.
Yeah.
No,
so
anyway, great discussion. Great talking to you guys.
Yeah. All right. That's all for tonight then. Good night.
All right. See y'all.